Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me again, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame in his game because he is always the same.
That's me. Hold on.
What's up? I'm holding.
Well, first of all, do the business end of the podcast first. You know, what are the people supposed to do?
Yes. Thank you, Grumpy. This is a bi-weekly Islanders podcast. Make sure you don't miss out on any of the action. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, and follow on Twitter. We go live every single Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But some of you might be noticing, you'll look down at your clocks and you say, hold on a second. It's not 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's only 4:50 Eastern Standard Time. Yes, because if the Islanders play a game on Wednesday or on Saturday, we go live right after the Islanders game.
Yeah. And when you listen to this podcast, you're going to hear truth. The good, the bad, the ugly.
Hold on.
Like I said.
The truth is only always good.
Well, the truth is good. Some people don't tell the truth, but we do. All right? We tell the truth all the time. The good, the bad, the ugly. And we have a little bit of that today, a little bit. But like I said, we're here. TJ, the real thing I wanted to comment on was that shirt you're wearing.
I knew you were going to say some shit about my shirt. I knew it, Grumpy. I knew it. What's up? What's wrong with my shirt, huh?
Well, first of all, why is it not buttoned up?
It doesn't have a top button. We've gone over this. No top button.
I'm surprised you haven't taken care of that.
Does it look like I have the ability or the skills? You think I'm like my hands are nimble like that where I could sew a button onto this? I would struggle, Grumpy.
Do you know how to use a pin? Do you know how to use a pin? A safety pin?
Why would I put a safety pin on this?
Because I don't think you could be trusted with a regular pin. So it would have to be a safety pin.
Oh man, Grump.
And here's what people are going to think. Oh, that was a setup line. No. Everything that is done on this podcast, particularly from my point of view, is ad lib. Everything. I don't have a storyline. If you hear me doing a storyline, it's because I wrote down some notes from the game. But anything, that's just fun and entertaining, that's just me ad libbing.
I'll be honest with you. If you do not do well when you have scripted points. We've learned that you do much better when it's just ad lib. Let me ask you this though, Grumpy.
Yeah.
What did you think about today's performance against the Nashville Predators? It wound up resulting in a shootout loss against the Predators. Barry Trotz, I did not know this until today, is 0-5, or he's had 5 attempts to win in Nashville since returning, either with the Washington Capitals and with now the New York Islanders, and he's yet to win back home for the Nashville Predators. I did find that was an odd stat.
Yeah, it means nothing to me. I don't think it has anything to do with it. It's just quirky. I just think it's quirky. As of today's game, I thought overall it was the best game we played all year. Really. I mean, like I said, I jotted down some of these little notes, and we can go top to bottom. I'm just going to give you the brief synopsis. Yes, we lost. This is TJ's favorite game, even if we got no points, because we showed progression as a team. He didn't care if we got any points, because points don't matter to TJ.
Hold on. Do not mischaracterize me, Grumpy. Come on. I said right now at this point of Jesus, Grumpy. Why don't you move that a little closer?
Well, because I the thing is just crazy over here. What can I tell you?
Move it closer so everybody.
I want to just make sure that you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Move it closer, Grumpy. I want you to move it
close as it goes. It don't go any closer.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I want one thing, Grumpy. I want to make sure the Islanders are playing good hockey early on in the season. I know when you look at a short sample size and we say, all right, I'm only going to squint and look at 5 games or 6 games or 7 games. I don't think it does justice to say I'm going to measure what our wins and losses and what our total points are during that time period. At the beginning of the season, I wanted us to ramp up and I wanted us to play our style of hockey and I wanted us to play good hockey. At the beginning of the season, I'm not as concerned about the points. I'm not as concerned about who's scoring goals and who's creating assists. I do want to see those numbers. And again, as you get further into the season, okay, now I start looking at those items, right? I'm willing to say people could start off a little slow and sluggish and they could go ahead and make sure they right the ship. So that's why I'm not too overly critical on results early in the season.
Okay. You want to know who is concerned about results early in the season?
Who's that?
Carolina, Washington, Pittsburgh, the Rangers, Philadelphia, all the teams in our division. Here's the thing. We're not – now what's our record now? It's 3-2-2, right? I think that's pretty good considering we've been on the road. But look at the rest of the teams in our division. It's like Carolina's 7-0. Washington, I don't think has lost a regulation game yet. I should have had that information, but I don't prepare for any of that. Pittsburgh is right up there in points. And it's like, man, nobody in the Metro is losing, which I don't like to see. I'd like to see everyone in the Metro lose.
Well, you're right there, Grumpy. Yep, the Hurricanes are 7-0-0. Washington Capitals are 5-0-3, 3 overtime losses / and or shootout losses. The Rangers 5-2-1. But again, here's the thing. Here's the caveat with all this. All these games have been road games so far for the Islanders. I do think it all is also worth noting that for our schedule too.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. Like I said, I thought this was our best overall game today. Were we perfect? No, but you look at how the game was playing out, right? It's like I even said to myself, man, the ice looks choppy. Nobody can handle the puck. Nobody's doing anything offensively for long stretches. Here's Islander hockey. And, so I was excited about that, honestly. I mean, that second period that we played today was the best period we played in a long, long time. And I was like, okay, looks like we're getting it back. I said, really, really happy to see. But for me, I think we learned today, but no, we were not perfect defensively. We were not, but we were better.
Now, I want to ask you this before we start talking about defense, because I thought today defensively, we made a handful of mistakes. Even though we're getting slowly closer to the Islanders style of hockey, we still made a lot of uncharacteristic defensive mistakes. I want to ask you, did you happen to notice that the ice looked kind of choppy? I thought the ice conditions were shitty. I saw people sliding all over the place, falling down all over the place, the puck, bouncing all over. I had to have assumed, again, I wasn't out there, I wasn't, in Nashville. I know some members were, but I have to assume the ice was not in good quality, right, Grumpy? Or was that just me who thought that?
Oh, well, I was wondering what the temperature in Nashville was, and it looked like people outside were wearing coats. So, it must have been cooler outside. I just thought it looked like a bad Mike game at times. Just no real flow to the game. It just, I'm disappointed we didn't get the win, honestly, because we deserved it. I thought we were the better team today. But like I said, to me, the biggest takeaway from today's game, there's a new number 1 goalie in town. There's no way Sorokin should not be the number 1 goalie. No way. So he saved us. He saved us. On their opening power play, I wrote a little note here. I was jealous of the Nashville power play. Jealous the way they move that puck. The first and second unit, which include Philip Tomasino. You remember him.
Grumpy, who is Philip Tomasino?
One of the 3 amigos. 20 years old. He's up in the NHL. Our first round pick of that year. Nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, 2019. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll talk about him later. But their puck movement was sensational. It really was. And Sorokin made, I want to say, 3 or 4 high quality chances just on that one power play. In the second period, I thought we really buttoned it up against their power play from then on out, honestly. So there was a nice adjustments that were made, and we were much better going forward. I mean, I thought we took over the game in the second, totally dominated, and it was just it was 2-1, but in the period it was 1-1 in goals. And then the third period we got a little bit sloppy again. But those things happen sometimes. I mean, so I'm not overly concerned. I'm just rooting for all the teams in the Metro to start losing some games, because if they keep on winning, you can't have a game, a moral victory 1 point when everybody else is getting 2 every night. That's not good.
Well, Grumpy, Sorokin made so many fantastic saves tonight. And again, right, I said, first goal he gave up, he probably wanted back a little bit. I mean, it was shielded. I mean, like he was it was screened. I'm sorry, the shot, and again, it kind of like leaks through his arm. But he made so many outstanding, fantastic saves. Grumpy, I think the most notable one here was this in overtime, as I'm pulling up on screen. Now, this you want to talk about a fantastic save, Grumpy. Another fantastic, and again, he had so many of those highlight reel S type saves today, and this one right here, I think maybe he took the cake, Grumpy.
Well, I don't know if this was the best one. They had a 2-on-2 chance after a horrible turnover by Pulak in the third period, where it was 2-on-0, and he makes the save. I mean, now Nashville, their spacing wasn't really good, but still, it was phenomenal. He's just so good in that. What a save. I mean, what a save right there. What a save.
Here's the thing. You talk about things that some goalies can't do, right? Sorokin is quick as a cat. Varlamov doesn't. Varlamov probably better positionally than Sorokin is, and again, I think they're pretty close on that. But you look at pure athleticism, and you look like the reflexes. Sorokin is something different. Some goalies can only dream of making a save like this and being able to change direction that quick as he's shifting gear to go ahead and stop, number 45's potential shot, and he gets across and he makes that outstanding save in overtime.
Yeah, what I'm seeing out of him this year is, and even more than last year, and even maybe the first couple of games this year when the defense was really in a shambles, is his economy of movement. Yes, he's still able to make those side to side saves, but his positioning is so good right now. I mean, I almost feel like even if we play really poorly, we still got a shot to win when he's in net. I just think he's fantastic right now. He's totally dialed in. He's your new number one. Here you go. Here's the one that, how do you not score on that? I don't know.
Oh my God!
They need to be spaced out better.
I'll be honest. Hey, when I first watched that that sequence of play, I thought, oh man, Nashville didn't even get a shot on that. No, we tried to go 5-hole, and it was a fantastic job again of Sorokin being in good position, being able to come up with that save on a 2-on-0.
But let's give credit to Zdeno Chara, who was way behind the play here, and he puts pressure on that, so that pass can't come across. He's killing it getting back there. Yes, he doesn't have the legs anymore, but I tell you what, there's no quitting that man. Absolutely no quit. And he did not have a great game today. Took a couple of bad penalties, in my opinion. But right here, maybe he saves a goal right here by really busting it coming back, and he certainly was. And, maybe that's why they don't even attempt the pass, because he got back so quick. So kudos to Chara on that particular play.
I was about to say, I know Big Z is catching a lot of he's catching a lot of flack today. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of those calls for Big Z, retire, you're awful, you're this, for certain. We'll address on his play today too. But I want to talk, we're going to talk about some of the positives.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to get to the positives because there were positives today, right? The gap control. Butch mentioned it pregame that the gap control has been bad, right? We've mentioned it here. And Butch also admitted, a lot of people don't like to admit it, because they're so pro-Islander that they just can't tell the truth on certain things because they figure, I don't know what they think. But he was honest. He says, let's be honest. We have not played well at the beginning of this year. We've not been good, and we haven't. Today was by far the best game we played. And our gap control, getting guys, our defensemen up the ice closer to the blue line as people are coming in, was certainly way better today. Way, way, way better. That's how we have to get back to playing our game. Chara did it early, and I'm like, well, and he's like, well, Chara hasn't been doing it. I wonder why. Maybe because he's scared of not being able to get back if the puck goes by him. And we saw that happen today on one play where the puck kind of went through him, and thank goodness went a little bit too far for Timonen to come in and pick that up. Otherwise, it would have been a break.
Grumpy. I want to say this too. Just his compilation of fantastic saves here by Sorokin. Again, this one's buried right into his pads, but again, good position. And this is a time period where, hey, Pele kind of abandons man in front of the net, and he's got a wide open opportunity there, number 9. I mean, Sorokin. You talk about those shimmering lights on your team. Those players that can make you overly optimistic because they are that dialed in. And again, I don't think Nashville, they're not a world beater squad. They're not the Carolina Hurricanes. They're not the Florida Panthers. They're not the Tampa Bay Lightning. But I mean, this is a solid squad with good offensive acumen. And Sorokin, again, I thought he played a fantastic game today.
Yeah, they're in rebuild right now. They lost Arvidsson. Thank goodness Arvidsson wasn't on that team. I think he's got 97 goals against us in 6 games. I mean, he always seems like he scores against us, Arvidsson. Now, why do I like Arvidsson? Because he really shows against us. You know, it's like if a guy, you ever see like in sports, a coach will say, yeah, I really want to acquire that player because he does so good against us, even if he doesn't do anything about anybody else. But, you know, hey, all I know, he looks great when he plays against us. And that's how I feel about Arvidsson. You know, they lost Ryan Ellis. Ellis really got nothing in return. And a couple of they lost Jarok to Seattle in the expansion draft, and Pecorine retired. I mean, that's a lot of veteran leadership on that team that they lost. And let's be honest,
they still have some older pieces like your Johanssons and your Forsberg. So they've got some older veteran pieces there too. But
okay, Forsberg's only 27, so he's not old.
I call him a veteran.
Okay, yeah, but they lost a lot of veteran. They lost a lot of veteran leadership on that team this offseason. And like I said, they're trying to rebuild on the fly. You know, good for them. But let's be honest, if those guys were all in the lineup, Philip Tomasino, as much as, you know, it pushes my narrative without a doubt, he wouldn't be playing on this team right now. I watched him a lot today, and you could tell there's no quit in him, but you can tell he's not a man yet, if you know what I mean. He's easily knocked off the puck. A lot how Wahlstrom looked early last year, or Dobson looked when he was 20 years old. You know, easy to be bodied off the puck. And he just doesn't have his man strength yet. But the kid is really calm under pressure, and I would love to have him in our organization. I'm sorry.
Can we talk about Oliver Wahlstrom here for a little bit, grumpy old man?
Great. What a shot. What a shot.
Isn't it funny? Let's just take a trip down memory lane, Islander fans. Let's take a trip. We don't even have to go that far. Sometimes you have to take a trip down memory lane. It's kind of like, hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years down the road. Our trip, we don't have to travel very far. We only have to travel about 1 month, grumpy old man. So we'll go ahead and we'll just launch it back 1 month ago. Do you remember a lot of the members of the cartel?
Every media of the cartel. Yeah, every media of the cartel.
Entire Islanders media cartel, doesn't matter. Art Staple, Andrew Gross, every single member of the Islanders media cartel was out there saying, oh, Oliver Wahlstrom has not been having a great preseason. You know, we've looked at him through the first 2-3 games. He hasn't had a great preseason, guys. I think he might have to worry about spending a little bit of time in Bridgeport, being sent to the gulags, being sent to a Russia, the Estonia, wherever the heck you say they get sent to, grumpy old man. Everybody was worried. Oliver Wahlstrom better pick it up. He's going to spend some time there in Bridgeport if he doesn't start picking up his game. Oliver Wahlstrom leading the team in goals, 4 goals this year. And again, fantastic shot. I told you, I'm going to stick with this too. I think it is, he would have to get injured for a significant time period to score less than 20 goals this year. Think about that as a third line right winger with time on the power play. I think it would be the odds of him not scoring 20 goals this year are higher than the odds of him scoring 20 goals. Or the odds of him scoring 20 goals this year are higher than not scoring 20 goals.
Yeah. And like I said, it wasn't just the fanboy sites, you know, who toe the company line. You're right. You mentioned the reputable people like Staple and Gross were saying it. And I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. I know they're getting some chirp from Lou or whatever, or, you know, they're reading the tea leaves. But I'm like, you have to be kidding me, right? Just use your brain for a change, as opposed to just, you know, whatever you're fed. Use your brain. Actually look at what's going on. Think about the future of the team. I mean, where would we be without him? I mean, what a shot today for that goal. What a shot. I mean, and his physicality, he did a great job today drawing a penalty late. Yes, it was a crotch check, but man, did he sell it like a best South American soccer player you're ever going to find over there. And, you know, they tried to challenge him and then he got right up, you know, so he really wasn't hurt. I mean, he was cross-checked. It was a deserved penalty on Nashville, but he sold the hell out of that. And he's got to watch out for that, because there was another member of our team who used to do that often, and the referees had it out for him for a while, even though that seems to die down this year so far.
Talking about Matt Barzal, yeah, he
Absolutely.
did. Okay, he did go ahead and embellish that definitely a little bit. He was cross-checked, but you're right. He went down. He was like, oh, in the fetal position, oh, on his knees and on his hands. Oh man, I don't know if I can get up. Oh, and he says something. I don't know what the hell the guy from Nashville said, but immediately he's able to stand up and be like, oh, what the hell are you doing, encroaching on my space? So yeah, a little bit of embellishment. And speaking here about that Wahlstrom goal, look at this. He's got a little bit of time, and ooh,
woof!
Look at that
Snapshot. What a wrist shot! What a shot!
Fantastic job. I will tell you, there's no goalie in hell that's saving that. Oh, it's like a laser. It's like a laser earmarked for the top corner of the net.
He could shoot the puck. He's always been able to shoot the puck. The improvement he's made in coming back and playing a two-way game, and his skating in the last year and a half have been phenomenal. Because I remember watching him, I'm like, man, the kid can't skate. He doesn't have a whole lot of compete coming back, and he's certainly bought into what Barry has been teaching him and the other coaches, Lane Lambert and the like. And to me, this kid should never be out of the lineup. I'm sorry, he should never be out of lineup. How long before you put him on the first line, though? I know nothing I know. JG Pajot is looking for him. He is looking for him when they're in the offensive zone.
Do you blame him?
No, I don't. But wouldn't you like to see him play with Barzal, really, as the right wing? I mean, I just think since you didn't go out and give away a second-round pick and a Samuel Bolduc for a truly great sniper from St. Louis, this kid is your next option. Give him a chance on that first line.
Well, let's talk about the first line right winger, Josh Bailey. He looked good. He looked good today in the limited time. Good passes. Here, what do we realistically expect from Josh Bailey? Again, there are times that we're screaming at the television saying, man, shoot the effing puck. And the same token, though, right? What is Josh Bailey? A guy who's not really going to shoot the puck unless it's presented on a silver platter saying you need to take this shot. He's a guy that's always going to look pass first. And on that power play, that was a good pass where he fed. And I mean, he kind of, hey, I fake a slap shot and I go ahead and pass it there to Anthony Beauvillier, who's able to put that into the net.
Well, they benefited on that power play in two reasons. First of all, obviously Nashville did not read the scouting report on Josh Bailey because he's never shooting the puck. And they all swarmed over to there like bees. You know, they like a 6-year-old soccer game. They all follow the ball, and they follow the puck with Josh Bailey. But here's something that, no one on the broadcast managed to mention. One of the defenders for Nashville lost his stick in the corner, so it was essentially a 5-on-3. But here's the thing, not to diminish, because that was a nice play. Barzal created in the back, hit Bailey with the pass, who made a nice cross pass to Beauvillier, and he didn't even one time. He had time to set it up and then take the shot. But you know what? That's a nice tic-tac-toe goal. So no complaints there at all.
That also being said, I do want to remind you, at number 14 there, the defenseman without the stick. That also being said, I do want to remind you guys today, we are going to have the call-in feature. We're going to start back on Saturdays again, having the call-ins on the show. We did not have one last week just because we were playing that West Coast time period. So we didn't start until like 11 or 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But again, we'll have back to today as well. We'll have the call-in feature of the show.
And that was you look at our special teams today. Our power play looked crisp. For the most part, really crisp. And like I said, I was jealous watching Nashville. They had one of the best power plays in the league. And after the first power play was tough. They didn't score. Sorokin was our best guy on the power play, and that's how it had to be.
Best penalty killer.
Without a doubt. But we kind of handcuffed them a little bit after that. So I thought we did a really nice job containing that power play unit.
Yeah, I don't disagree, grumpy old man. And again, our special teams today were good. I mean, I thought the power play, we had 2 power play goals. Wahlstrom's goal was a power play goal, right? Yeah. So we've got 2 power play goals today for a team that was really struggling on the power play. That's for certain. And you watch this, a good job. It's a good all the way around type of move, right? Nice pass by Barzal. I like the patience by Anthony Beauvillier, knowing he's got time, knowing there's nobody pressing on him, so he can go ahead and get that shot set and he can go ahead and make sure he pulls it back far enough to get elevation on it to score the goal.
The one thing, right, and without a doubt, really happy with how our special teams. If you wouldn't tell me that we had 2 power play goals today and we put one of the top 3 teams in the league 0 for 4 on the power play, you know what I'm saying? We're winning that game going away. It just, like, hockey's just a funny game sometimes, but you mentioned Josh Bailey. What do we expect from him? Well, if you're on the first line, I expect more than your description of him was. I mean, I just do. I think he'd be fine on the third line. I have no problem moving Wahlstrom up there because I think Palmieri is fitting in brilliantly with the second line. You saw a jump from Bavillier today. I'm going to tell you again, Bavillier drives that second line. When he has some jump, that line is much better. And Palmieri is of the same ilk. He's not afraid to get his nose dirty, go into those dirty areas. Yes, I've called him the F- in the past. I have, but he's really fit in with that second line. He doesn't have a whole lot of points, which is what you want, when you sign a guy like that. But his play has been good with and without the puck. Even Croc looked a little bit more engaged today.
Are you about to recant the F-? Are you about to change, Grumpy Old Man? Are you about to say, ooh,
nope.
Maybe really you're still keeping him as the F-?
How many points does he have in 8 games? How many points does he have?
7 games, 3 points.
Okay.
7 games, 3 assists, 0 goals.
Okay, then no. Because, he's been brought in here to score goals. That's his job. But I'm pleased with his play. So he'll maybe just an F.
Oh, hold on. We're starting to slowly see the Grumpy Old Man warming up to Kyle Palmieri. We're starting to slowly see him work his way up the ladder. And no time at all, probably mid-season, we're going to be looking at a sunny D or maybe a C- for Kyle Palmieri, if I've got a prediction on it.
D- maybe.
Oh, okay. That's as high as it goes, huh, for you?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. Want to start getting into some comments, Grumpy Old Man. Chris P. said, Chara, woof.
Yeah, I don't, I'm not going to bag on Chara. I'm just not. Because, that's on Lou. That's on Lou. Like I said, the play that when they had the 2-on-0, he busted it back. He really did. And I think that's why that guy just shot the puck. And Sorokin made a great save, but he took away the passing option. And he came a long way on that.
He forced the decision to be made quicker than the Nashville Predators wanted to have that. They obviously want to try to slow play that. He rushed it. He made sure he cut that passing lane down also.
Well, the 2 Nashville guys looked like they wanted to hold hands coming into the zone on a 2-on-0. They needed to spread out. You do a little tic-tac-toe, it's automatically a goal. But they didn't. I don't know. I don't know who the 2 guys were. But I thought they mishandled it, but Chara also helped. Chara today did take 2 bad penalties.
Yeah.
He did. And the first one was on that first power play that Nashville had, and Sorokin saved us once again. And the second one, we did a much better job killing it off.
Well, let me ask you to you like this, guys. And for listeners out there to the podcast and live stream, think about it like this. Zdeno Chara has not looked good since he's put on an Islander sweater the second time around. We've all seen it. We know it. I feel, here's the thing. First ballot Hall of Famer. I'm not going to speak badly of him. He's not looked good. I'm not going to, demean his game. He's one of the few that get that pass from me just because he's a special guy. That being said, I put more blame on the people who continue to roll him out there. Should Chara be playing an everyday role for us? The answer to that question is no. I think the only reason he's playing an everyday role for us is because we've had so much time in between. This game right here today, we had 6 days of rest from the Sunday evening game against the Vegas Golden Knights until this Saturday afternoon game against the Nashville Predators. We had 3 days where they didn't have any skating activity. You'd like to think, ideally, your players are going to be fresh. That being said, Big Z just doesn't have the speed he used to have. Did you see the spinorama pass he had back into our own zone? I don't know who the other defenseman was on his side. And as soon as I saw that, I thought to myself, I'm like, he's trying to exude and showcase the creativity of like a young 20-something-year-old defenseman. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, Big Z, I can maybe see you doing that in your 20s and hitting them on the pass and people being like, oh, man, that's great. But the pass was off. It didn't lead to anything, negative for us. But I just saw that move and that thought process. And I'm like, that is not something I expected out of the 44-year-old Big Z.
Well, maybe he was trying to channel his inner Denny Savard, who was a Blackhawk and Canadian great back in the day. I want to say he invented the spinorama. So, I mean, maybe that was a thought process on going there. Or, hey, let's do something unexpected. They don't expect me to do that. Maybe they'll just stand there in stunned silence. I'll be able to pull off something fantastic.
And they can go ahead and lead the strike right down the ice and go ahead
Mhm.
and get an odd man chance for the goal. Tony Cheese said, "Ooh, Zdeno, the liability Chara." I mean, he is somewhat of a liability. The guy can't skate. And what did we do the first podcast we had since the season started against Carolina and Florida? We had multiple different clips of Big Z getting walked around for goals that actually led to goals and scoring opportunities the other way. We could collect those every single podcast. I don't know if you guys would like to see those, but we could collect those every single podcast because there's always a handful of them every game.
Here's the thing, right? We talked about this in the preseason, even when there were rumors that he was going to sign. I'm like, dude, he can't play
We
anymore.
talked about this in the offseason. Let's go even
That's what I
further.
meant.
We talked about it in the offseason,
What did I say?
the preseason.
Okay. Yeah. Before the season. In the off season. We talked about that numerous times, especially when they were starting to have rumors that even before the rumors, I said, who's still out there? Well, Chara's out there. No, because he can't play anymore. I mean, and I'm going to say it again, there's no crime in that. But you see, at the end of the game today, who does Barry have out on the ice? Chara. I'm like, you're playing with fire, my man. I'm sorry. Here's the thing, and I love Zdeno Chara, and he's a class act. Just a class act. Really, really nice guy. But it's like, Barry, do you want him to be ridiculed by the fans when they get home? Is that what you want? You want to drive him from the sport? I don't know.
Oh, goodness. You have to figure, okay, when will a guy like Sebastian Aho get a chance, if ever? I mean, you see and know exactly what you're getting out of Zdeno Chara. And again, I don't think his mistakes and mishaps today didn't cost us the game. They very well could have. He's had an uncharacteristically high amount of penalties. And that's something I posed and asked a question to you earlier and to the listeners of this show. Will we see Zdeno Chara's penalties and mishaps increase because they're trying to go ahead and lock down to where you can't go ahead and cross-check? You can't use your physicality the same way you did in the past. I thought the only way he would escape is because he would get off of his name as well as the value of what he contributed in the past. And people would say, oh, it's Big Z. He's, that's just what Big Z does. But it seems like he's getting those penalties are being called on him as well.
Well, the two penalties he had today, neither one of them were because of the new rules. He punched Forsberg in the face twice when the ref was holding him. That's going to draw you a penalty every time. And when he hits you, he snaps your head back with that jab. So you knew that was going to get called. And the other one, he just got the stick up a little bit high and got called on there. I mean, the officials today, for the most part, one thing that drives me crazy is when Butchie will say, oh, well, that's interference on Nashville number whoever. And I'm like, dude, have you been watching the game and seen the interference we've been getting away with all day? I mean, when Beauvillier hurt himself, he tweaked his leg a little bit. He interfered with the guy to lay that check on there. And, we don't even mention that. I mean, either call it or don't call it both ways. That's all.
Grumpy man, I wanted to show you this. Now, I'm not sure if you happen to see this. Now, this was going around making its rounds on social media. This is Matt Martin teaching Matt Barzal how to throw fisticuffs over here. Oh, I did find this enjoyable, grumpy old man. How often? I guess they're just teaching him some defense because Matt Barzal is one of those. He's one of those can get under your skin types of players, and if anybody tries to take liberties against him, just so he can make sure he holds his own a little better.
He doesn't get under people's skin. He's not that type of player.
I think he does. Matt Barzal definitely gets under people's skins.
No, he's not one of those chippy players who start in garbage like Matt Tkachuk or Ken Linsman back in the day, or any of those little rat bastards who used to play for the Flyers like Bobby Clark and all those dirty. I hate them, even to this day. Their names like bile in my throat. I hack it up and spit it out.
Sounds like you're choking on it.
No, but here's the thing: he doesn't take any garbage either. He's not. If you run him, he's going to retaliate. That said, at least we know now, right, why Matt Martin is the $6 million man. He also plays Mickey from the Rocky movies, teaching Matt Barzal how to throw punches, I guess. Maybe he'll have him out chasing chickens on the ice next, like in Rocky 2 or Rocky 3. I don't know. But do you really want Matt Barzal learning how to fight You know what Matt Martin should have said? Hey, Matt.
And then the entire time fighting, it was just a little thing. It was just a little funny thing. How often do you think, hey, Matt Martin's showing, Matt Barzal how to be able to control himself on the ice there and to manhandle other individuals? Just not something you'd think you'd see all the time in practice. That's all.
Okay. I'm going to tell you what, Wayne Gretzky was not taking fighting lessons from Dave Semenko or Marty McSorley back in the day. You know what they said to him? Hey, don't worry. Somebody messes with you. That's why you got, whoever's on your line to take care of that. Like, you know what Matt Martin should have said if Barzal Barzy comes up and says, hey, Six, what happens? How do I throw some punches? He says, you know something? Just tell 27 to get off his lazy butt and come in here and do your fighting for you. We need you to be able to stick handle and score goals and create. We don't need you mixing up, breaking your hand on somebody's helmet or something like that.
Mm-mm. Frankie J said, hello, gentlemen. We need Varlamov back, and we need a goal scorer still. Chara needs to retire.
Okay, 3 points. We'll hit him real quick. Okay. Am I happy Varlamov is back? Yeah, because I think he's a better backup than Snyder. He's not the number one goalie. He should not be the number one goalie. Okay. We need a goal scorer. Yeah, we had a chance to get a real goal scorer this offseason, which could have made us, I think, really contenders for the Cup. Didn't do it.
Did you happen to see Vladimir Tarasenko, good old Vladdy Tarasenko? So far, 6 games played, 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points in 6 games. Vladdy Tarasenko, how much? His shoulder, the medicals aren't looking good. How many times did we hear medicals? This is the reason. Oh, they won't retain any cap. And would you do this if they wouldn't retain any cap? I said, well, time to be bold. And again, we'll never have any idea if Vladimir Tarasenko could have really made a huge impact or difference. All we can say is this. We said it in the offseason. I usually tend to believe when Mr. Outside Hire, when the other doctor, third-party doctor, not a team doctor, says we fixed the issue and the problem solved. So again, looks like his shoulder's holding up well. He's going back to the Vladimir Tarasenko of old. But no, we did not acquire the sniper. And guess what? We're not going to be doing that at the trade deadline either, because we have a glaring hole on our left-handed defense spot. So that's what we're going to be addressing at the trade deadline. But continue, Grump.
And if you, I tend to believe our favorite nighttime janitor when he says that the offer was a second-round pick and either of Scott Mayfield or Samuel Bolduc. If you're all in, why would you not move Samuel Bolduc in a second-round pick? You give away second-round picks like they're candy anyway. What does it matter? You have a chance to get a guy who's a proven 30, 35 goal a year scorer. What does your team need goal scoring? Think about how strong our right wing would be. I mean, even if you kept Bailey, right?
You would have had to offload Bailey or not sign back Parise. Or I'm not sign back Palmieri. I'm sorry.
I would have tried to offload Bailey because Palmieri at least does some of the things that Bailey doesn't do or doesn't want to do or is not capable of doing. But, if I had to sacrifice Palmieri for Tarasenko, I would have done that too. He's so much better. He's a proven first-line winger. It just is.
Moving right along. Jared Ben. Grumpy, isn't it crazy that Jared Ben, he looks a little like you, Grumpy?
Let me tell you something. He's a good-looking guy. I'm just looking at his picture right here. That's a handsome man right there.
I was about to say, Jared Ben, he looks like he even sits on a couch, kind of like yours too, Grumpy.
Hey, imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Boys, how are we doing? Sorry, couldn't tune in last podcast. Bailey leading the team in points. LOL, laughing out loud, Grumpy. I'll let you respond because I know this is more geared towards you than it is to me.
It's not going to last. It's not going to last.
Hold on, that's your response for Josh Bailey. Again, last game, I thought against the Vegas Golden Knights, that was probably his best game of the season. And I think this game against the Nashville Predators, I thought he played well too. It's good to see him starting to pick up his play because at the beginning of the season, he was a woeful at best.
It just shows what Matt Barzal is able to do. He's able to elevate other people's play. I mean, he doesn't do anything spectacular out there. He just passes the puck. That's all he does. Think about Anders Lee has been underwhelming this year.
Good old Anders Lee, guys. The captain himself. 6 games played, 1 goal, 0 assists. And this is unfortunate, too, because he was having such a good year last year before he got injured. But here's the thing, what I don't want to see happen. People forget 2 seasons ago, he was underwhelming for certain. And then the year he gets injured, he was having a stellar season. And this year he's off to kind of a sluggish start.
Below average Anders Lee. He's not average anymore. Now he's below average. So, but think about how much. Okay, think about what does he do? He scores a lot of garbage goals, right? Off of deflections in front of the net, off of picking up rebounds. That's his offensive game. So you have who's going to shoot the puck on that line? Barzal is a natural creator. Yes, he shoots the puck, but he's shooting to score. Where if you had Wahlstrom out there, his shot creates, if they are stopped, creates opportunities for down low. Josh Bailey doesn't bring any of that.
It creates rebounds because he's got such a hard and crisp shot. He's got a quick release and a hard shot. It creates rebounds. The goalie's not set. And then when you have those pucks around the dirty areas, that's when your Anders Lee can go ahead and clean up and put the puck in the net, right? When you've got a guy like Bailey on there, Bailey has certain skills. Bailey's an excellent passer, not great with shooting the puck. Bailey's able to go ahead and hopefully help supplement some offense with passing, but that's what Barzal does. And Barzal this year has been scoring goals. That being said, you don't have somebody to throw the puck towards the net to create some sort of havoc and then have Anders Lee sweep in with a goal. So, yeah, I do think you're right. I think Palmieri would be a better fit on that first line than Josh Bailey is, and even Wahlstrom. That being said, got to put Bailey somewhere, right?
See, that's my point. It's like the first line was playing really well the first couple of games. They were creating boatloads of chances. They don't create a whole lot of chances now since Bailey's been there. They've had some points, but it's not like they're creating a whole bunch of chances. And it's like Bailey's just not a fit for that line. I mean, I've always said Anders isn't a fit for that line either, but he was able to cash in when Eberle was there because Eberle would put shots on net, and Palmieri was doing that also. And, why not give Wahlstrom a shot on that first line? I know Barry doesn't want to change it up because the third line's going well, but whatever. It is what it is.
You're hemming and hawing a lot on that thought, Grumpy. You seem like you're conflicted or what?
Well, I don't like, as you know, I don't like to break up lines that are working. And the third line is working right now. Pajot and Wahlstrom. And let's give Parise some credit too. Let's show him a little bit of love. It's a $750 and probably $8 million in bonuses, Parise. Let's give him a little bit of love too, right? He's been going down, getting in the dirty areas. He's obviously trusted on the penalty kill, on the power play. So, they love him, and he has not embarrassed himself out there by any way, shape, or form. That line is performing. So do you want to break up a line that's performing just to get Josh Bailey off the first line? I don't know. But, I mean, the first line is certainly not as effective as it was early in the year when Palmieri was on it.
Yeah, no, it was better when Paul. Again, it was only a limited time. And how many times do we hear from the fans? Hey, we got to spread the love across, man. We are just, one line's producing right now for us. We need to spread it across all of our lines. So Alexander's saying here, good afternoon, guys. Lost today, and our old buddy Chara cost us the game.
I don't think he cost us the game today. Do you?
I wouldn't say that's the case. I mean, I look at those goals against. The one was just kind of fluky one. It was just right between his arm. It kind of snuck in there. And then the second one was one that was thrown towards the net. It was almost like, hey, they're on the line of the they're on the red line. He just throws it over there, and it just happens to bounce off of somebody and go in the net. I don't know if it bounced off of Pulak or who it bounced in off of, but it was just a hectic goal in a scenario where just like, oh man, that's one of those, if you throw the puck towards the net, you hear it all the time, good things happen. And that's exactly what that was.
Yeah, because, I mean, I know we got a little bit sloppy in the third, but I still thought we were controlling the play. I mean, the last 2 to 3 minutes of the second period is like, tough to watch. I mean, just both team was hemorrhaging chances just by turning the puck over, and it was more of the same in the third. But I thought we were in control of that game, really.
Mark A said, why didn't Wahlstrom play against the Bolts in the playoffs? That's a great question. As we've asked multiple times, we heard every single member of the cartel media, every member of the people who said Lou and Barry could do no wrong, find any way humanly possible to explain that, oh, well, no, he was injured, he was young, he wasn't maybe 100%, And, Travis Zajac, he's got more experience. Wahlstrom's inexperienced, so it's good. Let's just go ahead and roll him out there. Travis Zajac will do a great job. Wahlstrom missed a few games. Maybe he was, going to come back and wouldn't be firing on all cylinders. We heard every freaking excuse under the sun. And what we see out here today and what we've seen out here so far this season is Wahlstrom, again, just like we had said it, is bona fide a top six sniper who can go ahead and develop maybe into somebody extremely special. Again, imagine if you could have gotten a guy like Tarasenko like that on a cheap too. You would have really had some offensive pop. The defense will get there. The defense will get there. Trust me, it will. And our goaltending has been fantastic with Sorokin.
Who are the only people in the playoffs, the only podcast in the playoffs? Of course, these people are not members of the bootlicking weasel squad that is the Islanders media cartel. Who are the only people who are saying we need to get Wahlstrom in there? It was us. We were calling for it. That's why you want to listen to smart, intelligent content, you come here. You can go anywhere else to listen to that Islander pablum from, whatever they parrot from anybody. And I include everybody who's not us in that group.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, you saw everybody out there saying, oh, well, look, our podcast is different because I really do think that we look at the situation. Again, we might be wrong. We might be right. That being said, we don't just say whatever is happening, we're going to find a way to explain why it's occurring. No, we say this is what's happening currently. This is what we believe should happen. Here are our points and the reason why. Frankie J also said, at least we got a point tonight.
1 second before, just put that other comment up. And one of the, we just don't parrot the company line like others do. I think how Mark really wanted this comment to read was, why didn't Wahlstrom play versus the Bolts in the playoffs? I think it was more sarcastic. I don't think because he didn't put a question mark. I think it was more of a statement.
We could insinuate however you want. Frankie J said, at least we got a point. LOL. Yeah. Matt I said, so pissed. I hate Nashville with a passion.
We don't play them enough for me to hate them.
Mark A also said, who do we play next? We play the Montreal Canadiens on Thursday. So we go back home. We don't have another game until Thursday. Jer Ben said, Chara is downright horrendous. What a disaster. What a mistake. He's trashed his legacy returning to this organization.
No.
Oh, no. Jer Ben, come on.
I mean, you're good just by your picture. All right. A lot of pretty guys are not super smart. So I'm just looking at your picture right here. So, I mean, you got the handsome thing, the really good looking thing going down. But no, I'm going to disagree with that. Certainly has not trashed his legacy. And he was better today. He was better today. You just have to remember there's certain limitations with him. That's just the way it is.
And here's the thing. We had absolutely no expectations for Zdeno Chara when he came here. I said, whatever your expectations are, lower them. I said, this is a guy who cannot be playing the minutes that I'm sure they're going to play. And I think what makes him stand out even worse is the fact that he plays on the hybrid as like a top four defenseman because, right, you're rotating at left-hand defenseman there as your bottom two between Andy Green, and Zdeno Chara. Well, you can't shelter one of their minutes or let one of them play less minutes because you don't have one of those true additional bona fide top four left-handed defensemen.
Well, I'm going to say once again, anyone who listens to this podcast has been informed from the beginning, before he was signed, not to expect him to be the Zdeno Chara of old. And everyone was caught up, well, gosh, because he was so good 10 years ago. No, this is not 10 years ago. And that's exactly what I've said for weeks and weeks and months. Just lower your expectations. With zero expectations, you really can't be disappointed. The failure was Lou Lamoriello not getting someone better for that spot.
It's not as easy as that. But Frankie J said, grumpy old man, yes, you're still better looking than Shannon. I think Shannon has actually, I know we had talked about, Shannon looks like she's lost. I know she had her baby, 2 off seasons ago, and last off season was just after she had her kid. But I think Shannon has looked really good so far. I think she looks healthier. I don't know what it is. She looks like she hit the gym or something like that. I don't know. She looked good. She looks healthy, everything like that. Fit. I don't know whatever they call it these days.
I had my baby 26 years ago, and I still haven't lost the weight. So, but no, she looks way better this year. She's definitely on a training regime. I said, man, Shannon looks really good this year. Let's give credit where credit's due.
Frank K said, is this not a good team? Or hold on. This is not a good team as constructed. Very boring to watch. Parise is Komarov. Part 2. He'll get points here and there, maybe. Don't be surprised if they miss the playoffs with this squad.
It's funny.
And he also says team is bad.
What did I say to you today, TJ?
What did you say to me today?
Okay. I said,
you say a lot of hold on, Grumpy. You say a lot of things.
I do say a lot of
pull
things.
something out of the hat like I could read your mind. We've been podcasting together for like 4 or 5 years. I'm not that good yet. Maybe on year 10, I'll be able to tell you exactly what you're thinking, but not yet.
I said that when we were looking good and controlling the play, I'm like, yeah, this is us. We're just boring. It's not fun to watch. And I've said that for years, right? Since Barry's got that, we're not fun to watch. We win, but we're not fun to watch. And then I wonder if the team is as good as we think it is. Maybe it's not as good as we think it is. I just can't believe all the teams in the Metro are winning. Something has to change. Those teams have to start losing.
You sound flabbergasted because again, you're hemming and hawing over these points. You're like, I don't know, and that's I was like, Grumpy. Come on,
okay,
man.
if those teams play like they are, like Pittsburgh, Washington, Carolina, I expected.
Sidney Crosby's making his season debut tonight too, so they're getting Sidney Crosby back. Remember, Malkin has not returned back yet from his surgery and injury, and Letang has kind of been day-to-day ish.
You want to know what team has looked good? I watched them a couple of games. Philadelphia. And I hate them with a passion. If Philadelphia, Carolina, Washington, and Pittsburgh are playing really well, we could be out of the playoff mix eventually.
Grumpy.
I'm just
stop, Grumpy. We're not even a tenth of the way through the season. We're not even
See, you asked me why I was hemming and hawing. That's why I was hemming and hawing, because I don't want to hear your mouth. Okay. I said could be.
Hear statements like that, like, well, here, hold on a second. Well, if the New York Rangers continue to play at the clip they are, and if the Washington Capitals don't lose a game in regulation the rest of the season, and if the Philadelphia Flyers continue to play this well, and maybe I think Cam Atkinson might have 50 goals for them this season. The Islanders might be in trouble. They might be sitting there at 7th if everything continues exactly how it is the first 7 games of the season.
What did I say about the Flyers going into the season?
I forgot one. And if the Carolina Hurricanes keep playing at the pace they're at, I don't think they're going to lose a game the entire season. I think they might be able to go ahead and sweep the entire playoffs. Win the playoffs there in 16 straight games. I don't think they're going to lose a game all year long.
Maybe I should start my own website.
Why is that?
I don't know.
I
can draw everything out through the course of the season. Maybe that's all you need to do.
There we go.
Get a little calculator and figure things out and not pay any attention, I guess. I don't know. But I'm just saying that if those teams, okay, everyone except for me, of course, was expecting Pittsburgh to fall off a cliff. Well, that hasn't happened.
Hold on, don't say except you. I also said it too. I said, don't go ahead and don't go ahead and mark a time of death for Pittsburgh. I'm not sure they're going to fall off the cliff just quite yet. I said, they still won the division last year. And everybody was saying, hey, Pittsburgh might finish 5th. They might finish 6th. I don't know. They're looking pretty damn good. I'll tell you one thing. I was wrong as hell about the Carolina Hurricanes. What can I say? I missed on that big time.
Who was calling Carolina? Who's the guy who called Carolina?
Somebody named the Snumpy Old Nan.
Yeah, that's right. I'm telling you what, they're freaking good. They're good.
Alexander saying, but Sorokin again, lights out performance today.
Kept us in the game. He only had 23 saves today, but it seemed like, I want to say 10 were like A+ saves. I mean, he's fantastic. He did really well.
Brian P. said, Wally, Bavillier, and Barzal have 10 goals this year. The rest of the Jags have 7 combined. And Tarasenko, 4 goals, 4 assists in 6 games. Thanks, Lou. You're right. We don't need them, but Chara and Parise look wonderful.
Okay. I cannot believe I'm going to actually defend someone who I've ripped in the offseason. But Parise has looked okay. Okay, they try to sell him as being more than he's actually been, but he's not been an embarrassment out there. He's just as good as Leo Komarov. Okay, he has 0 points, just like Leo had last year, but he's showing effort out there, and his skating has been better. I think his skating has been better than I thought it was going to be. That line they're not looking for Parise. Pajot is not looking for Parise. He's looking for Wahlstrom. That's why that line's playing so well. It's not because Parisi's on it. It's because of Pajot and Wahlstrom.
Well, I just noticed I have a gaff. Thank you, Jared Ben and Tony Cheech, for letting me know. He's like, bi-weekly means every 2 weeks, TJ. You meant twice a week, I think, my friend. Tony Cheech said, yeah, does bi-weekly mean every 2 weeks? I used to get paid by bi-weekly. Oh, man, oh, man. Again, mistakes aplenty on my side. I apologize. No, it's a twice a week podcast. Hey, also speaking about that, you can check out our other podcast called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. That is in the link in the description below. That is a podcast where we talk sports and shoot the shit. Now, that the last Thursday's podcast, this Thursday's podcast was actually a more serious podcast. We covered in depth what was going on there with the Chicago Blackhawks, Kyle Beach, Joe Quenneville, the entire thing. We covered the Deshaun Watson case. There were a lot of serious topics. Again, a lot of thought, Grumpy Old Man. You had a very, very, a very, very good way for Gary Bettman to address all this to where it would, take everything and kind of prevent, a lot of the black scar or a bad image there for the NHL. That being said, if you're interested in that, you can check out the link in the description below. But we go live every single Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, as well as every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
That's true. 8 o'clock-ish.
Ariel C said, I'm not sure how Trotz could even think about giving Chara 10 seconds on the ice. He's awful.
Ariel, I love you. Okay, I'm just going to tell you that right off the top. But just remember that you knew I let you know about this going into the season.
No, she's more upset with Trotz here, Grumpy. She's not upset with Big Z. Big Z is awful. She knows that. But how the hell is Trotz giving him even 10 seconds on the ice? It's not. Her anger is how the hell, after we have him, are we still continue to play him every single night, 17, 18 minutes a night sometimes, when in reality, you've got Sebastian Aho that might be worth just possibly rolling the dice on for one game.
He doesn't want to play a young guy like that. Just doesn't want to do it. He doesn't. You got to remember, his defenseman, I don't even think he believes in the puck-moving defenseman thing. I mean, because look at all of our guys. They're all bigger guys. They're not puck movers, with the exception of Dobson. And just to show that I'm being fair on the show, I thought Dobson was terrible today. And everyone knows he's one of my favorites. To me, I thought he was really freaking bad.
I thought a lot of defensemen had bad mistakes. I thought Big Z made a lot of bad mistakes. I thought Ryan Pulak made some uncharacteristically bad mistakes. And so did Pelech, too. I mean, he's leading the odd man rushes going the other way because of bad turnovers. And, I love how they didn't mention him by name. Oh, that was a bad turnover over there. And Pelech was the guy who turned the puck over at mid-ice trying to headman it and bring it in the offensive zone. He turns it over and leads to an odd man break going the other way. They said, oh, bad turnover by the Islanders. It's different, right? When certain players have turnovers, like bad turnover by Noah Dobson, bad turnover by Matt Barzal. And, when it's one of the guys there, like your Adam Pelech, your Ryan Pulak, oh, that was a bad turnover. It's leading to an opposite chance here coming in for the Nashville Predators. An excellent save for Sorokin. We're going to go ahead and paint over and not talk about the bad turnover. Let's flip the page of what's going on next.
I mean, Butchie, I love Butchie, right? But I believe on the Pulak play where he turned it over, led to the 2-on-0, I believe he said that was Char's turnover. It was not. I'm like, gosh, that didn't look like Chara. I said, let me go back on the rewind on the DVR and take a look. I'm like, no, it was Pulak, but I thought he blamed it on Chara, but he certainly never mentioned the name after that. And then he went on at the end of the game about the defenseman not getting the puck down deep. And he went on and on for like 30, 45 seconds, but he never mentions the name. I'm like, well, who the heck was he talking about?
In Butchie's defense, you can usually say it was Chara who made the mistake that led to the odd man rush going the other way. And you're most times, over 50% of the time, going to be right. So if he happened to blink or he happened to lose where the puck was, he could just say Big Z, and in all likelihood, he'll be right.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to tax Zdeno Chara today. And here's the thing.
It was a funny quip. That's the only reason I said it.
People are going to say, people. I know what people are thinking. Well, he rips the shit out of Josh Bailey every chance he gets, even though he says he'd like Josh here, but he's playing on the first line, and now Barry's playing him up there. They were ripping Leo all year. I'm not going to rip Zdeno Chara. That was on Lou Lamoriello. He's 44 years old. If you expect anything more out of him than you're getting, well, that's on
Your expectations are far more than what others had. Anyway, that being said, Patrick V said, hey guys, well, we played better today. Definitely our best performance so far, but Chara needs to go always in the box. And it seems he's always in on the ice when, opponents score. I wouldn't be afraid to put Aho in his place. I think he's got a lot of potential.
I think they should rotate Aho in, if only to give Chara and or Green a couple of extra days off. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to keep those guys fresh during the season. Butchie mentioned earlier in the pod before the game started, he mentioned how the Islanders had the 5 days off, and he was surprised that they didn't practice more, that they only skated the last 2 days when they were in Nashville. And I thought, well, you know what? And here I am defending Barry Trotz. Boy, talk about a wild upside down podcast today. I thought that's a good thing. When you have an older team like that, I don't think you want to beat them into the ground day after day early in the season.
Another thing is, too, a lot of the younger teams, it's about getting them to understand this is what it is to be a professional. I need you to be focused. I bring you in for these practices, even if we're not going to go 110% kill the hell out of you in practice. I want you to be here. I want you to be engaged. I want you to be focused. I want you to be zeroed, locked in on what the goal is. I want you to be locked in on our next opponent. When you are a veteran heavy team, you don't have to worry about that as much because all those players do have the mindset. They do have the awareness. BP saying Isles Misery loves the truth, Grumpy. Who the hell is Isles Misery, Grumpy?
Isles Misery, rated R. They're a loyal supporter of TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. No snowflakes in the bunch over there. I can tell you that. They're a bunch of tough, grizzled veterans.
I love those Isles Misery.
They're the New York Islander fan base that this team should love. We are the number one fan base of the New York Islanders. We are just like the team. We're older people. We're grizzled. We're tough. We're not soft.
You're an honorary member, right, Grumpy?
Very true.
Frank K said Varlamov gets next game, I guess, now that Sorokin's lost.
There's no way Varlamov should play right now.
Do you want to take bets of what the chances are that Varlamov plays the next game? Because technically Sorokin, the goal he did give up was kind of weak, even though it was kind of screened and it just happened to trickle through his arm, even though he came up with about 10 or 12 saves that Varlamov could only make in his dreams. I think that Varlamov probably is going to get a game here next.
I thought Varlamov was going to start today. And I noticed right away, and then they mentioned on the broadcast, man, he looked like he lost quite a bit of weight. I don't know if he was sick. I don't know. Or maybe they say he was trying to lose weight, but it looks like he lost quite a bit of weight. So
Varlamov he's not a big guy. Goalies are not big guys.
I was just looking at his face. I was looking at his face. Like, see, look at my face. My face is fat now. Okay. It was thinner earlier, but now today it's like been fat the last few podcasts. I got to start trimming some LBs. It's a widescreen for a reason. But, when I take up the whole screen over the top of TJ and halfway into his frame, that's too much.
We got to zoom out, right, Grumpy? Just zoom out. That'll fix all the problems. Alexander said, I'm sorry. We need to see a line of Beauvillier, Barzal, and Wahlstrom.
I'd have no problem with that line. I think I even preached about it a couple weeks ago.
Grumpy. Grumpy old man. That being said, Grumpy, we
didn't play bad today. All right, let's be honest. We did not play bad today. We deserved to win. They got kind of a fluky goal off of Pulak's knee pad that went in. Another one that was kind of a seeing eye puck, went through 2 or 3 different players and might even been deflected a little bit. That goes through Sorokin's arm. But we carried the play for the most part, particularly in the second period. I know we were sloppy in the third. They were sloppy all day too, though.
That being said, Grumpy, we do have an ad to read from DraftKings. NFL fans hungry for a big win this week? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, has you covered. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game, and if they do, win $200 in free bets. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's that simple. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, DraftKings won't leave you empty-handed. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy sports contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code THPN to bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and win $200 in free bets. If they win, you win with promo code THPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. You must be 21 years or older in New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. A minimum of a $5 deposit and a $1 wager is required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Not too bad today, TJ.
I slip up on that little first portion there, Grump, is the issue. I go, what?
It's because you have a little bit of stage fright, I think, to start.
I get a little frightened. I'm afraid to speak on air, Grumpy.
Reading is not one of your primary skills.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, they send it to me in other languages, and I have to go ahead and translate it on the fly. That being said, we're opening up the phone lines, ladies and gentlemen. So you can call in if you'd like to talk with us and Grumpy, to share your thoughts of what the performance looked like, or even just say, "Hey, Grumpy, you're awesome." Doesn't matter what you want to call.
Oh, I like that. Usually, you ever notice what TJ usually does? He'll usually say something like, "Yeah, even if you want to call and say, Grumpy, you're a freaking moron." That's so. You know what he's trying to do is bait the crowd into attack the grumpy old man. Good job, TJ. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, partner in crime.
I just said, Grumpy, that you could say, "Hey, he's awesome."
You know, I just want to say something about Cal Clutterbuck today. The fourth line had a really good shift in the second period that drew a penalty that led to Wahlstrom's goal, and really subtle play by Cal Clutterbuck is he grabbed a stick and pulled it out of the Nashville guy's hand and dropped it. Really subtle, really subtle. And, you know, it didn't get called. And then he goes to take the shot. The guy winds up hooking his stick or whatever. And it leads to the goal. But I thought that was really slick of Cal Clutterbuck. I think he's in full contract mode right now. And thinking, what can I do? Let's show Barry and Lou the little slick things I can do to get us a power play goal without actually being on the ice. And I thought it was I think he's definitely playing for another contract.
A power play opportunity. That being, sir, hey, you're live here with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in?
D-Cut, what's up, boys?
What's up, D-Cut? Always the first caller. D-Cut.
Hey, you know, they say we save the best for last. We have the best going off first.
Thanks, buddy. And shout out to Isles Misery, all the boys out there. Thanks for your support, Grump. TJ, you know the drill.
Those evil Isles Misery guys.
A couple of things, and I can let you guys go. Great show, as always. The media cartel, some of these Facebook pom-pom groups who were saying they couldn't fit Nick Leddy under the cap, they're lying to you. The opening roster submitted to the league had Leo Komarov $3 million and Thomas Hickey at $2.5 million. That $5.5 million, Nick Leddy makes exactly $5.5 million. So all these people, Gross, Staples, some of these Facebook groups who keep telling everyone we couldn't afford to keep Nick Leddy, it's an absolute lie. Second thing, and again, I'll let you go. The best the Islanders played in the regular season was from the day Devon Toews was brought up, his 48 games in the first season Trotz was here, until the day Adam Pelech got hurt the following season. I think it was about 90 games. The Islanders had the second or third best record in hockey in that time period. Why? Because that transition game was very good. They had two guys on the back end who could bring the puck out. Right now, bunch of dinosaurs. Lou dropped the ball. Terrible job by Lou, even though everyone wants to say he's going to win another GM of the year. Again, thanks, guys. I want to hold you up. Have a great night, guys.
Thanks, BP, as always. Great. Starts off with a great first call. That's exactly how you do it, right, Grumpy?
That is exactly how you do it. And here's the thing. Anyone who wants to call in, learn from D-Cut. He is a master of the first call, without a doubt. Real quick, and he made great points. That is exactly when this Islander team has played its best under Barry Trotz, is when we had guys who could move the puck from the back end. And it was when Toews came up with the Hickey injury and until Pelech got hurt. He's 100% correct on that. And I just wonder, you know, Dobson is supposed to be that guy, but he's, like I said, some days he is. But I just wonder if they just say they don't want him doing that. I really don't know.
Yeah, and so just to bring up the point here too, right? I'll pop this up on screen talking about the current roster that the Islanders have. Again, right now, they've got $2.2 million in current cap space unused. And again, if you were to remove, let's say, one of those contracts from Achara, if you didn't want to bring him in or something of that nature, you would have still roughly about $3 million. When you're looking at $3 million, hey, how can I make $2.5 million of extra cap space? You have ways of doing that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said earlier. I just everyone goose steps to whatever Lou does, except for us here. There's no way you could do anything else. What did I say? You remember what I said in the offseason? Yes, there are other ways. You just have to be willing to get rid of other players. Losing Nick Leddy, and we were not big fans of Nick Leddy.
We are. I will say one thing. In this system, Nick Leddy's not tailor-made for it. He's tailor-made for the high run-and-gun style of the Detroit Red Wings. He's tailor-made for one of those heavy forechecking teams. He's not necessarily, one of the guys you would imagine as being a quintessential defenseman here for us, but he is better than definitely what we have to offer out there now.
And just like last year, we didn't have to lose Devon Taves with Johnny Boychuk going on long-term injury. We didn't have to. If you were willing to part with the Leo Komarovs, the Thomas Hickeys, you have no problem giving up draft picks to get rid of Andrew Ladd or, Nick Leddy. You have no problem doing that. But the year before, you wanted to keep these guys who served no purpose on this team to get rid of a young, up-and-coming, puck-moving defenseman, which is the way the NHL is going. Like I said, I think he's mismanaged the cap since the day he's got here, from the re-signing of Eberle, Nelson, and Lee to those long-term deals. And we are going to rue the day in the not-too-distant future when we see how those guys are aging and still making that type of money. It's just, that's the path he decided to take. Well, you're going to have to lie in that bed and sleep in it.
Hey, you're live here with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in?
Brian P. What's up, fellas?
BP, how are you?
Just say one thing about Brian P. He is another vaunted member of Isles Misery Rated R.
What's up, fellas? Yeah, I'm going to follow up my boy E-Cut. Shout out Isles Misery. Isles Misery loves the Islanders Never Say Die podcast, even you, TJ.
Hey. What's going on, BP?
A couple quick points. We definitely, E-Cut, perfect description about Lou. Definitely not fixing the left side of the D. We definitely could have fitted Nick Leddy in. Should have never got rid of Taves. But my problem is what we always have a problem with, and that's scoring. We still can't score. 17 goals in 7 games. The same thing. And we got 10 goals by the 3 young players. Bo, Barzy, Wally. Rest of the team has 7. I mean, I know it's early, but it's the same problem every time, guys. But I'll hang up and listen. Shout out. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.
Thanks there, BP there for the call in. Grumpy Old Man. I'll let you get that here first. BP, another great call there.
Okay. Do you have another quick call?
No, I said great call by BP. I was just saying, hey,
yes, excellent call. But here's the thing. What do I often say about players as they get in their 30s? They don't age like wine. They age like vinegar. And that's what okay, it's a little early for me to, pour the dirt on top of them right now. But it's not surprising to me that the young guys are putting up the points and the old guys aren't. You don't get older as you get into your 30s. You just don't.
You don't get better as you get into your 30s. You said you don't get older.
Well, you do get older as you get into your 30s, and even more when you get into your 40s, 50s, and 60s. I can tell you that. But you don't get better. That's correct. Thank you, TJ, for the correction. Why don't you just make it a little bit more snide next time, okay?
Don't you say it like this, Grumpy? Is that better for you if I say it in a voice like that?
Stupid, grumpy old man. Yeah. So, but you don't get better in your 30s. You just don't. The only way to go is downhill. I've never seen a player, probably in any sport, with the exception of Tom Brady, TB12, thank you very much,
Jesus Christ,
actually get better as they get older, particularly in their 30s. You don't see it, and you're not seeing it on this team either.
Frank K said, the truth is this squad is bad to watch. Ooh. And then Alexander also saying, following up there, Bavillier and Barzal also have a lot of chemistry.
They always have.
I didn't know if you want to touch on the squad being bad to watch. I mean, they're hard to watch. It's a style. Here's the thing. If you're and I've always said this, and I'll say it here again. If you're a fan who loves the sport and loves the beauty of hockey, right? It's like when you're watching soccer, same thing. Some clubs, even though you might not be a huge fan of them, what they put out there on the field, out there on the pitch, out there on the ice is beautiful. It's what is quintessential when you imagine the perfect game and the perfect sport. And some clubs are a little bit, clunky. They're hard to watch. They might go ahead and grind it out for wins, but unless you're a fan, I'm not signing up my Saturdays and Sundays to watch them play. If you're not a fan of the Islanders, I couldn't imagine a lot of people saying, hey, I'm just a casual viewer. Let me make sure I'm marking down when the Islanders are playing so I can watch the Islanders there and then out. That's just, and again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a style we play.
Yeah. I mean, but here's the thing. It's okay if we play like that and we win. Now, if we play this style and we lose, then they're unwatchable. Then, I mean, at least you can look for a win at the end of the game. And I'm not talking about this team. I'm just saying if you play stylistically like that, where you try to slog everything up and just making a dirty, ugly game, no offense, no creativity, just turning the puck over all the time. No, that's not fun to watch. And if you're losing, it's even worse. And then you'd hear the real boo birds come out.
Tony Cheese said, not a good start for TJ. First off, I say bi-weekly and then stop wearing pajamas while you're podcast. This isn't a pajama. It was a gift. And I was like, hey, just like this is a gift, right? I know that this is flipped the wrong way, but it's a gift. And hey, if someone's willing to give me something, I'll wear it. I'll use it. I'll showcase it. I will.
That's right. It does look like a pajama top.
I never thought of it like that, but now I'm never going to be able to unsee it because it does look like I should have some silk bottoms, but I promise you I'm just in some normal gym shorts.
I don't want to hear what's going on downstairs with you, okay? Nobody else wants to either, honestly. Just get yourself a little see if Paige can teach you how to sew an extra button on there. I mean, I don't know what you're trying to show off there, but it's not a good look.
Trying to show off my very pale skin. That's what I'm going for. My blindingly pale skin.
Well,
Ariel C said, with Chara on the roster, we have to mix up the defensive pairings as well to compensate. It's just a disaster. I was about to say, how often do we see the defensive? Ideally, they would want to run where it's Pelech Pulak. They'd like to run there where it's Mayfield and whoever his partner is going to be. Andy Green. Well, I'm saying if we were to eliminate and then Noah Dobson and Chara, but you just can't do that. How many times do we see that Pelech and Pulak aren't on the ice at the same time? How many times do we see the pairings always getting mixed up? Because you're right, they do have to find some way to shelter both Zdeno Chara and I think even a little bit Andy Green. Not to the same extent, but even a little bit though.
Well, I think if you put Aho in there, I think they would leave the Green. Okay, I would think they would leave Dobson and Green together, but I think they might flip-flop and say maybe Pelech with Aho and maybe Pulak. No, forget what I just said. I don't know what the heck I'm saying.
I'm about to say, I'm like, what the hell are you doing, Grump?
I got it all mixed up. I had a but you went on so long.
So now I'm getting blamed because you had made a mistake. Good to know.
Yeah. Instead of putting Aho with Mayfield, I would maybe put Aho with Pelech and then put maybe Green with, I don't know, forget it. Just forget the point.
Holy shit, Grumpy, time to retire. Grumpy, hang up the jacket, Grumpy. Time to send Grumpy old man packing.
I lost track of who played left and who played right.
Okay, gotcha.
I was teaming lefts with lefts, rights with rights. What the heck?
You got to replug your mic or something, Grumpy. It's coming in a little echoey. So I'm going to take the hold here a little bit for us. Alexander is saying a lot of positives. 2 power play goals. That is a big plus for certain it is. The power play has been woeful to start the year. And again, it's been like that for quite a long time. The power play has struggled and, having it to where, hey, we're starting to score a few special teams goals. That's important. And, our penalty kill, even if, let's say, for example, we struggle there early on, the penalty kill is one of those items that I do feel confident in will always round itself out. Again, it's early. We're looking at a limited sample size. That's why, again, I don't get too transfixed and fixated on what the points and where we are in the standings early in the season. So I also don't get, I'm not staring at who is killing it there on the scoreboard early in the season. It's a small sample size.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Oh, much, much, much better, Grumpy.
Okay,
good. And BP said progression. We scored our normal 2 goals. This team has the same problem for the 4th year in a row now. We can't score.
Well, they're aware of that. The management is aware. The coach is aware, but we don't do anything to improve it.
Jared Ben said, if we go to shootout, shouldn't it be like 1.5 points?
No.
I will tell you one thing. I was shocked. I made a comment on Twitter as soon as it went to shootout. I'm like, well, this is pretty much locked in. Sorokin's fantastic in shootout. The guy shuts everything down. He's fantastic. But it's hard to win a shootout event when you don't score any goals in shootout. So, I mean, we don't put a puck on net there with Wahlstrom. And then I can't remember who took the first shot. But, man, oh, man, it's tough to win shootout when you don't score goals.
Yeah, Wahlstrom took the first shot. But I found, and the guy who scored was Forsberg, and he had like 9 shots on goal today, primo chances. But that shootout goal was spectacular. Remember, wasn't he one of the guys I wanted to trade for last year? You remember that?
Jeez, are you going to say that for every single person you like? I wish we could do this. I wish
just a couple of guys who I say I wanted to bring in. That's all. But here's the thing: what happened in that game today at the end? Butch, instead of just saying, "Hey, you know what? We got beat in shootout today," he had to try to make excuses for Sorokin not saving goals. Well, he doesn't know everybody in the league, and because he doesn't have a book on him, he's never played him before. Well, he just got beat today. And then what do? As soon as they go to post game, you see Shannon and AJ just towing that company line. Yeah, that's the reason, because Butch was so right, because he hasn't seen all these guys yet, so that's probably why he didn't save it. And I'm sure whenever you look at some of these, the Islander media cartel, they'll be trumpeting the same company line. Not here. Guess what happened? We just didn't happen to win today. He didn't look terrible on a goals. One was a great shot. The other one maybe caught him a little bit off guard shooting it that quick. It is what it is. It happens sometimes. Just go with that. You don't need to make excuses when something doesn't go right.
Here's the thing, too. Sorokin is usually fantastic in shootout. That's just something he usually excels in. Goal scorers are, they score a lot of goals. That being said, I'm not expecting my goal scorer to score 3 goals every night. I'm not expecting a guy who's really good in shootout to say, I'm stopping every shootout attempt that comes my way. So, I mean, he's fantastic usually in shootout. He didn't go ahead and get the victory in shootout. I usually feel like he's a lock, but he wasn't tonight. It's not the end of the world. I really don't care too much about what performances are in shootout, but I know some fans are like, let's abandon the shootout. Let's get rid of it. I look at it like this. I mean, it's entertaining. I always love the 3-on-3 hockey. I was asking Grump as it was going on. I said, could you imagine just like for maybe it was like a little bit longer of 3-on-3 play, more than 5 minutes. Instead, maybe it was like 7 or maybe even 10 minutes in overtime of 3-on-3 play. It is entertaining as hell to watch. Speed is king in 3-on-3.
Yeah, but you don't want the NHL to turn into the Major League Baseball where the games are going 3.5 hours long. You don't want that. You can't keep on adding more time on the back end. I was thinking about, they want more scoring. Well, just play the whole regular time as 4-on-4. And then, when you go to overtime, do the 3-on-3, you'd see a lot more goals with more open ice.
Fair enough. Alexander said, yeah, the Rangers are a dangerous team. Well, Gerard Gallant is not College Quinn. I'm not sure if they're ready to take the step and be, a playoff caliber team just quite yet. Here's the thing. They've had the talent. They had a hideous head coach last year. Now, and I'll tell you this, I don't think necessarily what they did this offseason was fantastic with Drury. That being said, bringing in a legitimate head coach, it was like a +5 for them. So even if they had a miserable offseason and took a little bit of a step back, they still took 5 steps forward in getting rid of that bastard College Quinn.
The Rangers will go as far as Gerard Gallant and their coaching staff can get that defense to improve, because they can put the pucks in the net. They can skate. They're aggressive on the forecheck. They're the type of team that give us problems. I just don't think defensively they're good enough yet. And
BP saying our division is a beast.
True.
Absolutely. Frankie J also said, maybe we will get re-energized when we get to play some home games in a new arena.
I thought our energy level was good today. I didn't think we played without energy today. I mean, I just, I will be interested to see if we have the same advantage that we had in the Coliseum in the new building. That I will. I think it's going to take a little time to adjust.
I'm sure we will, Grumpy.
Okay.
You keep saying that shit. You keep saying that shit, and it makes no freaking sense to me. Well, let's see if we're going to get it. They designed it similar to where it has the same exact layout, the low roof, where it's still going to have the same atmosphere.
Okay. So what do you base your opinion on since we've never played there? You're saying it's going to be the same. What do you base that on?
Let me ask you this.
Nothing.
Actually, okay, what do I base it on? I base it on that it's a brand new spanking arena. We have a very, very strong fan base, and the games are going to sell out because it's a first year in a new arena. That's what I'm basing that on, Grumpy. Let me ask you this. What are you basing on yours? Do you think now because, the lines for the bathrooms won't be 8 miles long, do you think that we're going to see fan morale drop a little bit? They liked waiting that long for the bathroom. They like saying, hey, I can go in at the second intermission and I only have to wait and I'll miss like the first 10 minutes of action for the third period. Are you thinking that's going to bring down fan morale? That's going to bring down the atmosphere because there's less time and wait for bathrooms?
I didn't say anything about the atmosphere. What I said was, and here's again, once again, this is a TJ trait. He tries to misinterpret what I said or just ignore it and just, feed some other line of what I actually said. I said, I think I'm going to be concerned until we play there. I want to see if we have the same energy and, the same everything that happened with the Coliseum in the new building. You want to know why? I don't have anything to back up. That's why I said I want to see it.
Your concern for that would remind me of if Matt Barzal changed his skate laces and he said, oh, well, holy shit, these are new skate laces, buddy. These got extra wax on these skate laces. I wonder how Matt Barzal, if it's going to increase, how much weight he's got on his body, if that's going to affect his ability to go ahead and turn on his edges. He's using new shoelace. He's using new skate laces, guys. I think we might have to wait until we see him out there in action. That's what I look at that. I liken it to that, Grumpy.
Well, maybe you should look at it this way. If the bathrooms are so swanky, maybe people going to hang out in there instead of sitting in their seats. Maybe they love the food so much they're going to hang out on the lines and just continue ordering all this new cool food and they don't want to sit in their seats. Nobody's going to be in seats. They're going to be too busy eating food and going to the bathroom all game. Then there's no ambiance in the arena, right? Is that what you want me to say? That's how you sell it.
So I like that one, Grumpy. You turned it there by saying because, again, people maybe would sit in their seats and say, man, I don't want to go to the bathroom because it's going to be a 45-minute wait for me to take a piss. So now you're saying since the bathroom lines are going to move well, maybe we're going to have more people going in and out using the bathroom because the wait's going to be less. Oh, Grumpy, I like that. That's novel. I think you might be on to something there.
I tell you what, TJ, I'm glad that you didn't go to any games in the Nassau Coliseum because with those long lines to the bathroom, I bet you wouldn't have seen any of the game.
Every time I'd get done using the bathroom and have to get right back in line.
Right back in line because your inability to hold your water.
Oh, goodness. I love it. Always playful banter. Alexander saying, Pellick has to be stronger. He can't let Duchesne manhandle him like that.
Yeah, I thought Duchesne played well today. Better than he usually plays, honestly. I don't know. I mean, I thought we outplayed Nashville today. I had no real issues with how we played today. I mean, yes, we lost some puck battles occasionally. We were a little bit sloppy.
That's what Matt I is saying. You absolutely deserve those two.
Yeah, but I mean, we carried the play. I mean, we can nip, and which I'm really good at, by the way, is nitpicking one or two things. But I mean, we did. We deserved to win today. I thought we outplayed Nashville. We made a couple mistakes. They didn't end up in the back of their net. Sorokin saved us on those opportunities. They got one goal that was a seeing eye goal and the other one that bounced off a guy's knee. I mean, those are just facts.
Yeah, sometimes the bounces don't go your way. It doesn't concern me too much. What a two sign says, I hope I pronounced that right, says, refs are calling Chara for everything. I didn't like either call on him. I'm wondering if that's because they're going to be, again, like I don't think it's necessarily indicative of this, but we're seeing a lot more calls against Zdeno Chara. I wonder if that's because, again, they're saying we don't want cross checks, we don't want holding, clutching, grabbing. We want this to be more like the ice capades. We want to see the beauty of hockey. We want to see less contact out there on the ice.
Okay, I'm not going to rip the referees because I don't do that. We don't do that. But I mean, if you want to call by the letter of the law, Forsberg on the first penalty, Forsberg and Chara were going at it on the side of the net. The referees were holding Forsberg, and Chara punched him twice. I mean, and here's the thing: getting hit by Chara is different than getting hit by me. Or it's certainly getting hit by TJ. A soft puncher like that. But he snapped the guy's head back, and then he does it again, and then he sent him. And not even the first punch; it was the second punch that got him sent. And the other one, he got the elbow up on the guy. I mean, he did. But here's the thing: we got away with an awful lot of interference and holdings in that game. I mean, the Clutterbuck thing where he drew the penalty, he ripped the stick out of the guy's hand, and the ref let it go. So.
Alexander saying, yeah, the ice was terrible. So is Frankie J saying the ice was awful. Patrick V saying, that's why we need new faces in office and behind the bench. We were the freaking oldest team in the league. I would replace Chara and Green for Salo and Aho. We need to see young guys in this team, not older guys, that are ready to go. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I can't read. Are ready to go to the home, to the retirement home.
Okay,
so that's why. What is it, Grump? What?
Oh, I thought you were done.
No, that's why I think we need a change. Any freaking good coach wouldn't be playing guys that are over the hill. Need to rebuild with young dudes. Patrick V, I think you're taking a little bit. I think you're taking a little too far there. Again, we need to integrate some young guys. I think we're going to see Salo on this roster, Salo playing an everyday role, possibly maybe around game 20, 25. And that's when they're going to test them out to say, hey, could Robin Salo play at a competent enough level to maybe make, or maybe make a few appearances in the playoffs. If he can't, they're definitely going to fortify their left-handed defense spot. And even maybe if they think he can, I still think they're going to add to the left-handed defense position.
Okay. You look at coaches, and particularly older coaches who've been around the block a number of times, they believe in veterans. Bill Parcells did the same thing. He plays the older guys. Why? Because he wants to know what the consistent level is going to be. They don't want to take a chance on a younger guy because you don't know what the downside is. Yes, the upside might be greater, but the downside could cost your team. And I feel Barry Trotz is exactly like that. That said, if you're going to do something like that, you ease them into the lineup during the regular season. If you're going to play a guy, you shouldn't just play him 5 minutes a night. You should let him play a full shift and see what you have. But he doesn't believe in that. He doesn't believe in Aho. Salo is not ready yet, and I have no problem with Salo being down right now to get big ice time down in Bridgeport. No problem with that at all, right?
Salo has looked fantastic, by the way, in Bridgeport. So that's one of those things, too. I wanted to build confidence. And again, just because if he was playing and had years in the A, I'd have no problem with him being up there now. Just a change to the ice surface, change there from European hockey to American hockey. I'm not saying they're huge changes, but they're things I want him to be accustomed to and ready for. Frankie J said, I wish we had Tarasenko. Hey, don't even bother putting that down on your Christmas list because, as we mentioned before, looks like things are going A-OK there in St. Louis, and Vladdy Tarasenko and the St. Louis Blues are thick as thieves. Again, it's crazy what winning some hockey games and scoring some goals can do for you.
Lou Lamoriello was too scared to pull the trigger, period. And you hear, the nighttime janitor say, well, we would have had to clear cap. Well, then you know what? You make it work. You make it work for high-end talent. I don't care if you have to dump half the garbage that's on this roster right now to get a guy who's a true first-line scoring winger. You're trying to win a Stanley Cup. It's not like, okay, everyone on our team is 24, 25 years old, and, we can all grow together. No, this team's time is now, today.
Alexander saying here, also, honestly, UC Saros was good tonight. He was good. I thought he had a good game. He made a few good stops. I think Sorokin, better goalie out there on the ice, no doubt about it, though.
Yeah, he had a lot of saves, but I don't think he was tested. The saves that he made weren't of the quality that Sorokin made.
Yep. Michael O'Donnell says Chara's play has been poor, but he's also taken many penalties. Hey, Grumpy, I bet if Dobson had taken those same penalties, Barry would have plenty to say.
Particularly last year when he could have slipped somebody else in the lineup and sat him on the bench. I think right now he realizes this kid's got to play. He might say something, a little bit of something, but you even notice Butch this year isn't going full off on Dobson when he makes a mistake now. I think I was way tougher on Dobson than they were today. But here's the thing. Why? Because I called the truth every single time. I don't have an agenda. I just call it as I see it.
Yeah, I will say, we're both big fans of Noah Dobson. Did not have a good game today at all. But yeah, go ahead.
And you're not hearing Barry slam Barzell. Now Barzell's been much better this year, but I mean he's made mistakes and turned the puck over occasionally too. But you don't hear Butchie ripping him on that anymore either. Like even last year, he'd shred him when he turned the puck over. You draw a penalty 80 foot from your net, and it's like, oh my gosh, oh, look at Barzell. It turned into a goal down the other end. He turned it over at the blue line. There were 4 other guys back last year, but somehow Barzell was to blame. But now it's a little bit different because they know maybe Barzell's got 1 more year on his contract. Maybe we can't bury the kid if we want to sign him back.
Eli said next 6 games before the home opener are Montreal, the Winnipeg Jets, the Minnesota Wild, the New Jersey Devils, the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Florida Panthers. What do you think our record will be in those final 6? I consider a good road trip over that stretch. I think is 2-2-2 at least. Grumpy, I'll let you take this one first here. Again, Montreal, Winnipeg, the Minnesota Wild, the New Jersey Devils, the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Florida Panthers.
I guess I'd go 2-2-2. What I think it is going to be is 2-3-1. That's what I think. I think we're losing to Florida and Tampa. I do. I think
I will say I'm not sure. Remember, Florida's been red hot. They've got a lot going on there. I'm not so sure they're still going to be so red hot. I mean, they haven't lost a game yet.
I don't care about their record. It's their style of play that gives us big problems.
With a new coach, style of play might be altered a little bit.
He's just an assistant. He's just doing whatever Quenneville did. That's all he's doing. Now, if you put a new coach in there, Tortorella's openly applying for that job. Then it's a whole nother thing. But right now, it's Andy Burnett.
Tortorella, again, we've talked about him before, not the right coach for that job. Not the right coach for that job. If you're a Florida Panther fan, he's not the guy you want to put in charge. That is for damn sure. Tortorella does well when he can be bombastic. He can be controlling. He does well sometimes with those younger teams or those teams that have a lot of character issues. This, I don't think, is the right team for him. He's always got a very, very short shelf life, too. I mean, the expectancy you expect out of John Tortorella, even if he wins a cup, is like 4 years maximum. He's got a really short shelf life.
But he's a guy that he's like Billy Martin used to be.
Or even Jose Mourinho in soccer.
Okay, we'll go with Billy Martin because people know that. Where if your team was slumping, you bring in Billy Martin, you're going to get immediate results. Right now, they're not slumping. I don't think they need immediate results. Andrew Burnett played for Quenneville. He's been coaching with him for a while, so they took the safe route. Okay, let's see how it goes. But Tortorella, like you're right. But his one thing about Tortorella's teams, they all play for him, without a doubt, particularly initially.
Grant H said, what's up, guys? Bummer to lose. But on the bright side, we got a 5-game point streak going. That is for certain.
See, look at that. That's Grant, man. I didn't even realize that. 5 games in a row, we've had points.
Yeah, Grant H there. He actually does the Islanders United live stream. He usually goes live during all the games, grumpy old man.
All right.
And you can check him out there on Twitter, YouTube, and I think at Facebook. I'm not sure. But Grant H,
I don't have any of those things,
So that's all for all the other people, grumpy old man. Oh. Mr. B said, I was on the side of putting Wahlstrom in the regular lineup earlier than years, but Barry and Lou may have done right by him letting him break in, letting his breakout year be 2021-2022, starting to think Calder Trophy.
I don't think he's eligible for Calder Trophy. That said, they babied him into the lineup last year. The thing that drove me crazy is that, according to the cartel, that if he didn't come out and play really well, he'd be sent down to Bridgeport. I'm like, that's just dumb. That's just dumb. And thank goodness they didn't do it. I mean, that's just dumb thinking. It's unimaginative. It's just, okay, well, whatever the Islanders say, whatever the big office, Islander one, wherever it is, whatever they say, we're going to run with that. Well, you know what? I like to look at actually thinking about a team winning a Stanley Cup. Sending him down was not going to make you a better team.
Frank K said the league has pressured, has figured out the Islanders system. Once the opposition pressures them, they panic. They're doing Sorokin a big disservice. Barry needs to adjust today's game or forget about the playoffs. Remember, They weren't making it 2 years ago in the playoffs because the league figured them out. The stoppage saved them. Last year, the Islanders had the luxury of playing Buffalo and New Jersey 8 times each without seeing teams like Colorado, the Carolina Hurricanes, the Florida Panthers, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Yeah, last year we did benefit from playing New Jersey 8 times, who was woeful, and we played the Sabres 8 times, who were woeful. And you think about it, we had also racked up quite a few wins against the Boston Bruins early on in the season. What did we win, first 4 or 5 games against the Bruins?
Yep. And but we've talked about that the last couple of years, how I felt we were lucky we would not have made the playoffs without the pandemic. Without a doubt, we were, I think, 8th or 9th, and we're not going to make it. We were totally 7-game losing streak. We were on the way down. Last year, we benefited only playing the Eastern Conference teams. And this year, we're going to find out what we're really made of. And what have I said for the last number of years? Teams that can skate and are aggressive on the forecheck are really, really tough for us to handle. And we've seen the teams that do that give us a problem. And the good teams that do that are a real problem. Carolina, Florida, Tampa, those teams give a hard problem for us. He's right.
Frankie J said Sorokin made great saves today, but he didn't make the saves when it mattered. You can't allow 2 goals back-to-back in the shootout. Shootout.
Okay. I don't know about that. I mean, he kept us in the game on that first power play and in that first period early. He really did. The goals that he gave up in the shootout, the first one was just, that's Forsberg. Nobody's stopping that. The second one, I think he was caught off guard with how quick he shot that.
You want to know the funny thing about that Forsberg shot? Originally, when I watched it at normal speed, I thought it went 5-hole. And then I watched it again in slow-mo. I'm like, holy crap, he put that over the glove. It was fantastic. Again, here's the thing, too. Sorokin usually doesn't look like a squid. He was out there looking like a squid kind of moving back-to-back, or a crab, because he was like, holy crap, the puck is moving so quick, and he's got me on edge. He's got the advantage there. He was playing, he was taking control of the situation. And again, it was I thought that was a fantastic shootout attempt. Sometimes, right? Like Franz Nielsen was always excellent with that fake shot with the forehand. He'd always put it backhand. He could roof it to the top shelf. Some people just are really good in shootout, have good shootout attempts. That one by Forsberg was an excellent shootout attempt.
That's what players with high end ability can do. And that's what he did. He's their best player, and he showed it today. I thought he really showed up today, Forsberg. And Sorokin stoned him, I don't know how many times today. And that shootout goal is just a thing of beauty. Here's the thing. Oh, gosh, what are you rooting for Forsberg? No, but I appreciate a magnificent goal like that. It's just like, wow. Mm-hmm. Take my hat off to him. It was a great shot.
I tip my cap to you there, Mr. Forsberg.
Tip of the chapeau.
John M. said, just keep piling up points. 3 easier road games are coming up. If they get 2 or 3 wins out of the next 3, it's looking good. I never actually gave my input on that too, Grumpy Old Man, regarding what I think the next 6 games are going to look like.
No, because it means you'd have to go on a limb on something. I know you don't like to do that. You like to ride the fence. Freddie the fence rider.
Look at you. I think we go 3-2-1 over these next 6 games. I think Montreal. Okay, you said Grumpy. Come on. I think we beat Montreal. Montreal is hideous, and again, it could be a mix between they caught lightning in a bottle last year. I think they're also missing the hell out of Shea Weber and Carey Price. I think that's also taken a toll. I think we beat Montreal. I think maybe an overtime loss against Winnipeg. I think we'd lose to Minnesota. I think we beat the Devils, and I think we beat the Panthers, maybe with a loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Okay. If you want to break, what's the one thing Montreal does really well? They're young. They play a similar style to us. Yeah, but their young guys are really attacking in the offense. I'm not saying I think we're going to beat Montreal, but they could give us problems, as could Winnipeg with their forwards. Minnesota, even though they're a pretty good team, that's a team I think we should be able to beat. The Devils, I don't think they're there yet, but Tampa Bay's woken up now.
Okay, Montreal, just to give it to you. And again, the LA Kings, they're young. They're 1-5-1. They're in the 3rd period right now, and they're spanking the hell out of the Montreal Canadiens 5-1. I'm telling you, the Montreal Canadiens are hideous. I know they just won. Hey, they beat the Sharks 4-0. They're losing to Seattle Kraken 5-1.
Yeah, I'm not saying that we're not beating Montreal. I'm just saying watch out. Their forwards are the type that give us problems. That's all I said.
Okay. Michael O'Donnell said, watching Wahlstrom today, he's such a good goal scorer. I can't help but ask myself, why the fruitcake did Barry not play him against Tampa in the playoffs? Yeah, I tell you, I don't think too much back on that either. I don't think that Wahlstrom would have made a difference and would have won us that series. I think he would have maybe helped lead it in the right direction, right? What's the one thing we can't do against Tampa? We didn't do it 2 years ago in the playoffs against them in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we didn't do it last year. Score goals, right? 11 goals in 7 games in the Eastern Conference Finals last year against Tampa. I mean, it's all way back in the rearview mirror now, but he would have helped. I don't think he would have won us that playoff series.
One goal could have won us that series. And I think the reason why he didn't play is because he doesn't have his AARP card yet.
And then Chris P. said Bailey had great vision on that primary assist.
I think he saw that right away. When the guy lost his stick, everyone crowded down around the net. When Barzal went behind, he throws it out. Everyone they did the B thing, still in front of the net, but going towards Bailey, which left Beauvillier wide open. So I'm not saying that his vision was great, but it was the right play, and it was a good play by Josh Bailey.
Matt I said, Wahlstrom is unbelievable. That for certain. He's been fantastic so far. And Deidre C. said, Lou, get our team younger.
Preaching to the choir there. I've been talking about it for years.
John M. saying, defense still turning the puck over too much, but best Islanders game as a team thus far. I 100% agree, John.
And the thing that yes, I 100% agree also. The thing that concerns me is the guys that you're not expecting to turn the puck over are some of the guys who are turning it over.
It's really, really, really rare when we see a bad turnover from Ryan Pulock or Pelech, and I'm like, oh, each of them both had a few of those moments today that led to chances the opposite way. I'm not expecting our top defensive pairing to turn the puck over. It's just, if they do, it's like, holy crap, Pulock turned the puck over today and led to an odd man chance at 2-on-1 going the other way. We don't expect to see that very often. We saw a few times today. So again, there's a lot of room for improvement, but those are right. We talk about what are improvable things that we're making mistakes on and what are things that we don't expect to improve on. I'm not expecting Big Z to be able to ever skate any better than he is now, to be in better position than he is now. I mean, that's just, it is what it is. But right, can I expect, Adam Pelech and Ryan Pulock not to turn the puck over as often? For certain. Same thing with Dobson. I could expect them not to make those mistakes, those careless mistakes.
Yeah, and you wonder, particularly with Pulock, if it's the instance of he's playing with Chara now, so he knows what Chara's limitations are, so maybe he's trying to expand his game a little bit more than he should to overcompensate. And maybe that could be leading to those turnovers as well.
Frank K. said, are you mean to tell me that Zach Parise isn't the best player on the team? LOL.
Nope. He's got no points, right? None?
I'll have to pull that up for you. I'm not sure off the top of my head, Grumpy.
He gets power play time? Okay. He's Josh Bailey-like.
Josh Bailey. Okay, Josh Bailey offers more than Zach Parise does.
I don't think he does. I think they're the same type player.
What?
Yeah.
No. Hold on. You think that Zach Parise offers seriously now? I don't want you to just entrench in your point of how much, my character is I hate Josh Bailey, so hey, Josh Bailey can do no right.
I think they're both third line quality players at this time. That's what I think.
Oh.
Here's the thing. If Bailey was playing on the third line with Pajot and Parise, he'd have no points. It's the fact of who he plays with. That's why he's getting points. It's not anything he's doing. It's what other guys are doing, and he's a sidecar. It's what he is. If Parise was playing on the first line with Matt Barzal, he'd have points just by playing with Matt Barzal.
And Alexander said, hey, Al's Meteor Cartel, how about that boy Oliver Wahlstrom? Boy, and look at it, right? Al's Meteor Cartel is everyone. I cannot make that clear enough.
No one more special than anybody else.
Everyone, your Andrew Grosses, your Arthur Staples,
the legitimate guys are included in there too.
Is everyone? Was that
the legitimate reporters like that? They're included in there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Bree P said Wahlstrom should be on the first line, but we'll never see that.
I disagree. I think eventually he'll make it to the first line.
Jer Ben said, let's take a trip down memory lane to the freaking series against Tampa where Wahlstrom should have been in the goddamn lineup over Travis Useless Zajac, that freaking loser bum. Right? It's funny, though. Here's the thing. let's look at it this year and under a full year under his belt. I mean, I here's the thing. I'd be shocked if Oliver Wahlstrom does not score 20 goals. Again, bearing any type of seizing any injury. The guy has a fantastic shot. You see what he can do on the power play. He himself will inflate our power play numbers. Again, he's not the answer to say, hey, we could just put Oliver Wahlstrom there and now we're going to be having a top 5 power play. He can definitely sure as hell help, though.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think he will have 20 goals this year. Absolutely. He's a threat on the power play.
Joey V Pill says, I think our putrid attempts were more of an issue, but I'm no goalie expert.
For Soros having maybe all those saves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't think he was super tested. I mean, he made some good saves, but I thought that the higher quality chances, even though he only made 23 saves, were against Sorokin.
Tony Cheese also said, yeah, let's go even further back and try to imagine what kind of impact Wahlstrom could have had in the conference finals. Yeah, we could have done that. Hey, that one's still, I don't even know. I don't even know. I still don't think he would have won us that series. I think he could have helped us score more than 11 goals. I mean, he was fantastic in the Pittsburgh series and got banged up, but
you lost the series by 1 goal. But I'll tell you what, he was eating the hell out of that popcorn up there in the press box. I do know that much.
Man.
But the whole thing was, here's the difference, right? When a veteran gets hurt and a young guy comes on and does something, when the veteran's healthy, the veteran goes back in, period. When a young guy gets hurt, doesn't matter if the old guy doesn't perform or not, he's going to roll with the old guy. That's just.
And I will say this: we heard every excuse, and I'll hit this one more time, right? Oh, maybe he's not 100% healthy. He's not this. He's not that. Ladies and gentlemen, it was the freaking Stanley Cup. It was the Eastern Conference Finals. Everybody's playing injured and banged up. Everybody, right? You had Jean Gabriel Pageau playing with a broken hand. You had multiple injuries all over the place, right? You go ahead and get out there. You saddle up, partner, and you go out there and you play the game. Jared Ben said, "If there's something I'll never forget, it's Barry for that. Wahlstrom could have moved the needle enough." In our favor to win that series. I just didn't see it, but maybe he would have. I mean, Oliver Wahlstrom, hey, maybe I'm underestimating his ability to impact that type of series, but I don't think he would have moved it enough, but I thought maybe he could have helped provide a little bit more of a scoring touch. 11 goals in 7 games. God, we got to stop talking about it, Grumpy.
Okay, that's up to you. I mean, but that's what it is, right? I mean, 1 goal. We lost the series by 1 goal.
Michael O'Donnell said, so another season is upon us, and once again, Matt Barzal is forced to play without a legitimate first-line winger. Josh Bailey is a third-line winger at best.
True.
I think in an ideal scenario, third-line winger. I mean, if you got to make the stretch, second line, but first-line guy. And the thing is, his skill set does not play and benefit Matt Barzal's skill set. Matt Barzal is a guy who is that playmaker who helps create. And, Josh Bailey is he's a facilitator. He's a guy who can get the puck from point A to point B, and you still don't have that sniper on the line. Paul Mary is a better fit for that line than Josh Bailey is. So I'm going to say it again.
Josh Bailey is a hyphen. That's what he is. Jean Gabriel hyphen Pageau. That's what he is. He's not a creator. He's not a setup guy. There's nothing sensational about him. He's certainly not a goal scorer. He's a hyphen. He'd make a good third line player, a solid journeyman, smart player. Those are not guys on your first line. They're just not.
Jared Ben said, boys, let's talk about Barzal embellishing. How long until he gets called for it? He's been diving all season. Don't deny it, Grumpy.
I don't think he's diving anywhere near as much as he did a couple of years ago. And I said on this podcast, he better watch it because he's doing a lot of diving. Wahlstrom did it today. And that's why I say even earlier on this podcast, I'm like, watch out, because Barzal did that a couple of years ago and he got punished for it. You want to make sure that that doesn't become the case with you. He certainly, let me tell you something, he certainly laid down there for the 9 count on that cross check when he didn't need to.
Yeah. Grumpy, I'm going to let you read this. I'm going to let you read this comment by Jared Ben.
Oh, and TJ, for the love of Christ, can you let Grumpy read some of the comments today? You know he's sharper than you in that regard. See, that's how you read a comment. You put a little inflection into it.
Because here's the thing. I don't want to imply an inflection if that's not how it's meant. I just read it the way it is written.
I try to read everything with an inflection because I'm here to entertain. I want people involved.
as per that request. Oh, hey, Grumpy, I'll let you read a few. Here you go. Here's another one by Chris P.
TJ, the lack of buttons on that shirt, aggressive. I'd add pathetic.
Oh, you'd add pathetic on the end of that one?
Yeah, what that?
Frank K saying the recall of Komarov to play the first line will happen way before Wahlstrom plays on the first line.
No, I disagree with that.
I
disagree. I like it, though. I love those comments because, yeah, that's cool.
Alexander saying that was a beautiful shot by Beauvillier.
Yeah. Well, Saros is a smaller goalie, and like I said, the fact that one of their defensemen didn't have the stick, they were in trouble there. And it was a nice feed from Barzal to Bailey and Bailey to Beauvillier, a nice shot. Perfect. Beautiful. Love it.
Matt I said they need to play overtime until somebody wins. I'm done with this shootout.
Can't do that in the regular season. Just can't do it.
I was about to say you could have some games. If it's 3-on-3, the likelihood you'll score is higher. I really think if you extended the 3-on-3 play to 10 minutes, you'd have a goal every single time. The amount of shootouts you'd see would be even more sparing.
Yeah. Well, you know why they went to overtime and shootouts, right? Because teams were tanking at the end of the year, just trying to play for ties at the end. That would benefit both teams. That's why they did it. But they used to just, I don't know if you knew this, DJ, being a little youngster yourself, they used to just be ties at the end of games. And regulation, tie, game over. Never went to overtime. That was just for the cup. That was just in the playoffs. And I'll tell you what, it made it special to go to overtime. I'm not saying it's not still special in the playoffs, but it was really special, man. When you played an overtime game, it's like, oh my God, it's overtime. I mean, you were into the overtime thing. I'm just going to tell you right now. Not now. Every game could end in overtime and shootout and all this other stuff. But man, in the playoffs, it's like this game's going to overtime.
Brian P said Bailey is a passer. We all know that. Why in the world would you give Barzal, an elite playmaker, a passer on his right wing? It makes no sense. That I do 100% agree. I don't know. I think I even just mentioned, I know these comments are older comments, but I do 100% agree with it. Why would you give an elite playmaker, a passer, a guy who can create offense and ability, another passer, a guy who excels in passing as his wingmate without having a true sniper? And the other winger is a guy who parks his ass in front of the net and tries to go ahead and deflect shots. You see where the issue might arise, where we're not maximizing, based off of the skill and the chemistry you can have.
That's why Palmieri, when he was out there, because he plays a different game, he's not afraid to play a dirty game, he's not afraid to shoot the puck, was a benefit to that line. Is he as good as Tarasenko would have been? Nope. Is he as good as Wahlstrom could possibly be? Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. But if you gave Wahlstrom the chance, not by the end of the year, he wouldn't, because he'd grow into that role of being on the first line and the true sniper on that line. That's not the way that Barry believes. He wants Bailey. He trusts Bailey, regardless that he does nothing. It's just easier. He doesn't want to break up too many lines. It's always the thing. I don't want to break up too many lines. Well, for the good of the team in the long run, maybe you should consider it. I'm just saying.
Matt I said Sorokin deserved better. And also Alexander saying, honestly, as much as I hate Bailey, and I hate him, he's been better on the first line.
He benefits from playing with Barzal. Because he doesn't drive the line. When Beauvillier isn't going well, the second line does nothing. Now you're seeing Beauvillier pick his play up a little bit, but you have Palmieri, who is the same type of player, that type of high energy guy. When it's just Beauvillier doing it, and you had Bailey on that side, that's why that line sucks. If Beauvillier is not doing good, it doesn't matter what Bailey does.
John Smith saying, just joined. Ugh, damn it. Chara is an anchor weighing down this team. Bench him now.
Well, maybe by December or early January, we'll see Robin Salo come up and get some time. But you might as well roll with Aho. What's wrong with the little rotation system, particularly against a team like Montreal, who's struggling so much, or a team like Arizona or Chicago, teams that haven't even won a game this year? Why don't you give Aho a chance in those games? See, that's the one thing that just drives me crazy that he does. He won't play a younger guy in a high leverage situation just because he just won't do it. I don't know why.
And here's my thing, Because if your plan is, and I think this is the Islanders' plan, once a Salo gets enough time down there in Bridgeport where he feels confident in his game, he looks competent out there on the ice, he's ready to take the jump and be out there at the NHL level, you're never going to see Aho getting a chance. So if you don't play him within the first 20, 25, 30 games of the season, you're never going to see Sebastian Aho. So we have no idea whether he's a better candidate and better suited out there than an Andy Green at 39 years old, or Zdeno Chara at 44 years old. We'll never have any idea, right? He might not be a marketable upgrade. It might not be like, hey, oh, this is Paul Coffey out there compared to Andy Green. No, but even if it's, let's say, a little bit of a diagonal step forward or a little bit of a step ahead, it's better to know what you have out there on the ice and what you can roll out there than saying, hey, we're just going to roll out Big Z as well as Andy Green every night.
Because if you get an injury, one of those players get injured, now you're going to have to throw him into the fire, and he's not been indoctrinated properly. What's the one thing that Aho brings that we struggle with defensively right now? A guy who's able to move the puck out of the zone. We just don't want to do it. I mean, here's the thing. It's obvious that Dobson can't play with Chara. But, I mean, if you have Aho come in and put Green with Dobson, which seems to work, then you can put your first pairing unit back together, and then you have Mayfield and Aho. Why not try that?
Jer Ben said, Grumpy not going to bag on Chara, laughing my ass off. Bro, come on, for real. He belongs in a damn nursing home. He also says it wouldn't be the first time Grumpy Old Man recanted his F- rating and went back on it. Mr. Inconsistency here.
That's true. Palmieri's inconsistent, so when he plays a little better, his rating goes up to an F. When he goes back to being a piece of garbage, he goes back to the F-.
He's talking about you being Mr. Inconsistency.
That's all right. I can live with
that. Brian P. said, Grump, I must say you're in a good mood today. You're very positive.
We played better today. Even though we only got 1 point, we played better today. I'm always in a good mood when we play well. When I'm watching games and we're just horrible defensively and everything that I see wrong with the team comes to fruition, it makes me angry. I mean, today we played better. We lost, but we played better. I'm just glad we got the point. Here's the thing. We got the point that we were lucky to get against Vegas.
Alexander said, I know this is an Islanders Never Say Die podcast, and I love the Islanders, but I sent you guys that crazy sequence that happened the other night between Detroit and Florida. We'll see that. I'll try to pull that up, Grumpy. It was a crazy sequence. Or should we save that tomorrow for TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, Grump?
Well, it doesn't matter. Well, here's the thing. If you pull it up now, we can talk about it and let people know where they're missing when they're not watching the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show. Is it a fight? I hope it's a fan fight. I love it.
No. Joe said, what an absolutely horrible loss after a million days off. This team has big problems. I'd love to blame it all on Chara, but Dobson sucks too.
Yeah, Dobson struggled. I thought Dobson was the worst, probably the worst overall player today for the Islanders. I thought he was bad. But it wasn't a horrible loss because we played better and we dominated the action. We still need to button up on the defensive end because Sorokin had to make too many high-quality chances from in close. But at least it's growth from what we have played. I mean, because I think we've been horrible so far this season. We're lucky, jackpot lucky that we played Arizona and Chicago. I'm just telling you right now. I think they still have 0 wins between them.
Gotcha, Grumpy. Let's go ahead and show us this little crazy little bit, this last little portion here, Grumpy.
That game went to overtime.
Yes, it did.
Trip, no call.
He's controlled again. Aronik, nice hit.
Nice body work. Steve Goldstein on the call.
Shot, another block. Oh, Ernie crash test. Another
block.
Down goes Fabry. Fabry again. Short save the Delkovich. What is happening?
Where's the Delkovich? He's all over the place.
It is loose to the corner. What crazy action!
Oh.
Shots, block shot again, and the broken.
No, he breaks the stick.
Montour saved the Delkovich. That's the craziest sequence I've ever seen.
Oh man,
That was really good. Hey, you know what? Have we played like that this year? Like Detroit did on that sequence?
We haven't needed to, I don't think.
The answer is no. You could say we haven't needed to. The answer is no. They got something going on there, Detroit. I don't think they're making the playoffs, but they're buying into whatever their coach is selling right now.
Frank Hayes said Dennis Savard had the greatest spinorama ever.
Yep.
Jerben said, bro, the both of you guys not shitting on Char is a joke. First ballot Hall of Famer, the dude is freakishly tall. He's built like a freaking Charizard. Anyone that big should be good defensively. Oh, see, like this is what gets missed. This is what gets forgotten. The young Big Z, 25, 26-year-old, you forget how well he skated. He skated better than some of the guys out there currently. Even now the game has changed, he still would have been an adequate skater when he was younger in his career. Not the greatest, not the worst, though, far from the worst.
Yeah, here's the thing.
What 8?
Here's the thing. It's the recency bias thing, right? 5 years ago, he was still one of the top 10 defensemen in the league when he was 40 or 39. He was fantastic. He's done. He's toast. I don't need to throw the extra shovel of dirt on him. I said that in the offseason. He's finished. Anyone thinking that he was going to be anything more than he is now, that's on you. Because I knew that's what he was. I told you that's what he was. Nobody wanted to listen, right? The Islander media cartel, this is a great signing. He's going to do this. Think about how much better Noah Dobson's going to be playing with this guy. Oh, my God. No, because now he's got a cover for him. So it actually makes his game worse. And now you're seeing it with Pulak as well. You can only cover up for that so much. But, that said, I'm not surprised by this. I think he's actually played better than I expected because he was toast the last 2 years. All you need to know is Boston didn't want him back on a 1-year deal, making vet minimum. Washington didn't want him back after 1 year on a vet minimum. And we won't want him back after this year, after 1 year on a vet minimum. That's just the way it is. He can't play anymore.
Mm-hmm. And again, Tony, she said, Jerben with the Pokemon reference for a win with the Charizard reference. Jerben also saying, being that big, if he wasn't an elite defenseman, that would be concerning. He's freaking enormous. His size, he's the size of a horse. That's just how he was born. It's not natural talent. He's a stegosaurus.
Oh, that's not true. That's like Charles Wong saying that we should put sumo wrestlers in net because they're so big they could cover the whole thing. Still got to be able to move. Yeah, and he could play. He could play. This is the recency bias thing. Go back and look at Char from 6 years ago when he was in his upper 30s. I mean, he was still the man out there.
Think about that. He's 44 years old now. People forget, even when he was 30 years old, he's putting up 51 points in a season.
Yeah. Which would lead the Islanders' whole team.
51 points as a predominantly defensive defenseman, logging like 26, 27 minutes a night.
How many goals did we score against Chicago? Was it 5 goals?
I'll have to look that up.
I know we scored 3 against Arizona. That's 8, and we've scored 17 this year. So we scored 9 goals in the other 5 games.
Yeah, no, we scored 4 goals against Chicago.
Okay, 4. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're at 2 goals. Normal against teams that have a win this year, we're scoring 2 goals a game. Okay.
What a film said. I agree with you guys. They played solid today. A point on the road is a good thing. And a couple of bounces, and we win this game in regular time.
I think the couple of bounces went Nashville's way tonight, and that's the only reason that they got the points. Because as sloppy as we were in the third, they weren't really a threat, I didn't think. It was a bounce off of Pulak's knee pad that goes into the net. It's a seeing eye goal on the first one. Those things happen, but I didn't think we needed luck today. I thought Nashville got the luck to get the win.
Frankie J said, if Barry and Lou didn't kiss the ancient players' asses, we would have won a cup, at least one cup already.
I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to go out on a real freaking limb here and say if we would have got Vladimir Tarasenko this offseason for a second and Samuel Bolduc and found a way to dump Josh Bailey, I don't care. You give away first-round picks every year anyway. Give somebody a first to take him. This team is so much better offensively. It's scary. Then we have 3 legit lines. 3 legit lines.
Could you imagine a Vladimir Tarasenko? And the thing is, he would have been perfect, absolutely perfect paired up. Again, you got Anders Lee to plop himself in front of the net to cause chaos, to screen the goalie, etc. You got the playmaking ability of Matt Barzal, and you've got a sniper. Again, you forget too that Vladimir Tarasenko also has the ability to be a playmaker too and to create offense on his own. It's not like he's just got to be put in one spot and he can only go ahead and score if he's got all the open space in the world. He can create opportunities that we've seen already too. And could you imagine? It's like, oh, we've got him on the first line instead of Josh Bailey. Even if you kept the other lines the exact same.
Well, that's the whole thing, right? That's all you need. Swapping him out for Bailey, in essence, because you had to offload Bailey, right? Of course, St. Louis could want him. Why would they? Why would anyone in the league want him? Like I said, his mom doesn't even want to come over Sunday dinner. I understand. No problem there. But think about it. Then we have three really stud lines, and you still got your same fourth line, but every line can score. You have two scorers on every single line, right? You got, and I'll throw Anders Lee in there too, right? The first line, Tarasenko, Lee, and Barzell, that had the chance maybe to be, a top 5 line in the NHL. Your second line with Palmieri and Beauvillier, both guys who can generate chances, and Nelson in the center. I mean, I think that makes him better. That makes them better. I think that line has been way better since they've been put together. And then you keep your third line to say, even if you love Parise, great, because that line is totally J.G. Pajot and Oliver Wahlstrom. And then you have three lines that can consistently score. And even if we're slumping a little bit defensively right now, we're maybe able to work through that with having more scoring. And as we get better defensively as a team, as the year goes on, then perhaps we could truly contend for Stanley Cup.
Grumpy, you ever notice how you just start talking so quick sometimes? It's just like I feel like you're an auctioneer.
Because the thoughts are just pounding out of my brain. I have to yell them out to you. I want to make sure that I get the whole thing out.
Will S. said, a nice goal by Kaliev. Grumpy old man, he's another member of the Three Amigos, Grumpy old man, the three individuals the Islanders passed up on. Again, Philip Tomasino, Arthur Kaliev, and Connor McMichael. Now, again, Arthur Kaliev so far 8 games played. I think for the Los Angeles Kings has 2 goals, 2 assists. Again, he's not lighting the world on fire, I wouldn't say, but I'll let you watch this sequence here in this goal by Arthur Kaliev. Now, tell me this wouldn't be nice here to have.
Right, he can shoot the puck. Another guy who can shoot the
puck. On the power play.
Who does that look like? Who does that look like who plays for our team right now?
It looks an awful lot like an Oliver Wahlstrom.
Oh, there you go. Why would we want guys who can score? I don't know. You tell me.
That for certain. Again, nice goal there by Kaliev for certain.
And how's Simon doing? How's Casper doing?
Simon Holmstrom has 2 mighty assists, 2 huge assists in the AHL, mind you, not the NHL, AHL.
I bet you they were secondary assists.
I have no. A few of them are primary, I think.
A few of them. He's only had 2. That's a couple. The most you can go is a couple of them are primaries because he's only had 2. 2 is a couple. A few would instigate more than 2. What's his plus minus?
He's a -2. -1. -1 on the season.
How the hell is he a -1? He was a -5. I know how. He's probably playing with better players right now and just being the Josh Bailey-like sidecar. He's just benefited with his plus and minus.
Anatoly Golyshev is scoring goals. But Grumpy, we're moving right along here with comments. Tony Cheese said, I'm worried about Beauvillier at the trade deadline. I don't want to see him go.
I don't understand why you'd want to move a young player under contract.
Not talking about Tony Cheese, but talking about the Islanders organization.
Yes. Not Tony Cheese. I don't think he's in charge of making trades.
I don't know, Grumpy. Tony has given good advice here before, like shaving my head, making sure that we go ahead. I take that pajama shirt off. That's another good one. I should probably take the pajama. Maybe I won't wear this again. I'll have to retire this shirt. But go ahead, Grump.
But that just tells me that he's not in charge because if he really thought that that's what you should have done, he should have pulled the trigger on it, had somebody go over your house and buzz your hair right on the air and rip that shirt right off your body or throw a tarp over the top of you or something else.
Oh, goodness.
But that said, with Beauvillier, I don't know why you'd want to trade him. He just signed a 4-year deal, very manageable numbers. Why would you want to move a young guy like that? The young guys are producing. It's the old guys who aren't producing. Shocked. I know you're shocked by that one.
I'm shocked, Grumpy. Are you trying to tell me on the offensive side of the puck that 3 of our younger players, as BP mentioned earlier, have 10 of our 17 goals so far this year? Yeah. And are you trying to tell me I'd also be shocked to see that our older defensemen, our Andy Greens and Zdeno Charas, are absolutely cashed? I'm shocked, Grumpy. I am.
I'm not saying they're absolutely cashed, but let me just say they're starting to jingle the change in the drawer. You know what I mean?
Oh, there it is. John Smith said the only one that consistently puts the puck into the back of the net is Wally. Everyone else is content to pass around the perimeter.
I'm going to throw Barzell in that mix too. And here's the thing: when Anders Lee, it's just the first line is just a bad mix right now. It's a bad mix. It's all individual play by Matt Barzal. That's what it is. That's what that line is. It's Matt Barzal, and they're hurting because they have a bad wing on there. Bad wing.
Got a bad wing, huh, Grumpy?
He's just not a fit for that line. But Anders Lee isn't either, honestly. You have to get somebody different on the other side then. I just don't understand how a guy who's so bad just managed to get elevated all the time.
A question that mystifies deep thinkers everywhere. John Smith also said, Parise seems like a cheaper version of Komarov. Consistent forechecker, zero threat of a point producer.
What do you expect? He's 37. But his effort has been there. And you're right. But you know what? He's kind of like Komarov. But, I mean, yeah, he's kind of been just like Komarov. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but no, he's been just like Komarov.
Vinny Smith said, a fast Bailey report, a perimeter assist on the power play, -1 again today, second most ice time for forwards. Why is he still on the team? Why? We will never win with him on the first or second or third or fourth line. Bailey sucks.
If he was gone off the team, we'd be better. If they brought in a Vladi Tarasenko, right? That changes the whole dynamic. I had no problem at all going into this offseason and making some dramatic moves to get you over the hump, because the team that we had the last 2 years was not good enough, and we benefited from the pandemic. Most people did not. The Islanders did. And here's the thing, right? I was so willing to go the extra mile to compete for a cup this year. Lou wasn't. And once again, like Shampoo Lou, right? Wash, rinse, repeat. You roll the same cast of characters out and just hoping maybe shuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic is going to change your luck. It's not going to happen. Roll the dice. Go after a Tarasenko. I mean, it just makes the depth of your scoring depth so much better. That one guy makes everybody better. Everybody gets dropped down a level where their talent is more commensurate with. And move out Bailey. Sorry.
Thomas Bach said, Philip Tomasino and McMichael are in the show. Also, so is Kaliev. Holmstrom, nowhere near it. That's about to say. Holmstrom, and I'm talking about if the sun and the moon and the stars and all the planetary and all the cosmos align, Simon Holmstrom is, in best case scenario, this entire season in Bridgeport, and then probably at least half of next year, if not more, in Bridgeport. And you got guys like Connor McMichael, again, playing out there for the Washington Capitals on the third line. You have guys like that in Philip Tomasino playing minutes, and Arthur Kaliev all playing minutes there for their NHL club. And again, right, Washington is a playoff contender. It's not like, hey, we're just looking at bottom feeder squads here. Like you could make that case for the LA Kings, right? They're a cellar dweller. They're not necessarily in win now mode. They want to get their young guys experience out there on the ice. They want to see what they've got, right? Connor McMichael's playing for a cup competitor. You would say, hey, also the Washington Capitals are a cup competitor, just like the Islanders.
I don't think Washington's a cup contender. I really don't. They're playing well right now, but they're in the same boat as the Islanders. I don't think the Islanders are cup contenders, but I don't think Washington is either. I really don't. The whole thing is, and anyone who's new to this podcast, this is not hindsight being 2020 on Simon Holmstrom. This was like draft day. This was the old, we were on SoundCloud still. No YouTube, no Facebook, no Twitter live streams, no Apple Podcasts, no Google Podcasts, no anywhere you listen to your podcast that we have now. This was back when you used to have to pay to have SoundCloud, where everything was just on SoundCloud. This was the podcast right after the NHL draft. We immediately were like, what the hell? We passed up on these three golden players. I was always a fan of even like your Suzuki's, your Nick Suzuki's, your Rafael Lavoie's. But again, like those three right there were like, these are the three we need to target, we need to take. And we were shocked when we went way off the board with Simon Holmstrom. I wanted Philip Tomasino. I saw him. I'm like, man, that's Matt Barzal. But now hindsight being 2020, we know they don't like the Matt Barzal style of play, really. Just a run and gun, offensive talent, fun to watch. We don't believe in that here in the Islander organization, which is fine. But McMichael was my second favorite, and Kaliev is a goal scorer. We don't have goal scorers. That's what you need to fill. I mean, you try to fill needs. I know these kids are 18 years old, but you see the talent, and it's not like Holmstrom was rated higher than they were. He was rated at best a late second round pick. A late second round pick.
A guy who's a late second round pick who got hurt his draft class year. When you get hurt your draft class year, your stock doesn't increase, it decreases. And again, a guy who only played in the junior level of the Swedish Elite League and didn't even light the hell out of the scoreboard there and got injured his draft class year. Yeah, don't get me started.
But the Islanders seem to do stuff like that, right? Josh Bailey, the worst player on the team, somehow is playing on the first line now.
Alex H said, do you guys think Bailey could still potentially be used in a future trade?
I don't think he has any value.
I don't think he's going. I don't think they want him to move anywhere. I don't know if he's got. Oh, here's the thing. I think they're okay if they were to part ways with him. But I think you're right. I don't know how much value he's got.
My whole thing is, if you're a team looking for Josh Bailey, if you're making a trade at the deadline, what are you looking? If you want to add grit to your team, are you looking at Josh Bailey? Nope. If you want to add scoring, are you looking at Josh Bailey? Nope. If you want somebody who can perform at a high level, do you want Josh Bailey? Nope. If you want somebody who can body check, do you want Josh Bailey? Nope. If you want somebody who can help you with your math homework, do you look for Josh Bailey? Yes. But that's not why you make a trade at the deadline.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm just not sure the value on him. I'd like to think, right, if we say Nick Leddy this last offseason, he was going into last year of his deal, had a whole bunch. I mean, the Detroit Red Wings have a whole bunch of empty cap space, right? He got 2 second-round picks for Nick Leddy when they moved him. Right, Grumpy? Or was it 1 second-round pick? I can't remember.
Repeat that, please.
How much did Nick Leddy yield in return for that trade?
Second-round pick and Richard Panik.
Okay, so it was only 1 second-round pick.
I believe so. And I'm going to tell you what, I don't like Alex's picture. He's trying to show off.
What's wrong with that?
I don't like he's trying to show off. And he's not anywhere near as good looking as Jerben. That's for certain.
Ah, there you go. Well, yeah, it was 1 second-round pick in Panic there. I will say, if that's the case, I couldn't imagine Bailey being more than he couldn't be more than a second, maybe a third-round pick, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That being said, Alexander also said, unfortunately, I got the NHL Network telecast, and it was some guy on the play-by-play in Kevin Weeks, and the color commentary, they were awful.
Honestly, I like to listen. I listen to the Islander broadcast, but I enjoy actually listening to other broadcasters talking about the Islanders because they give you more of a fair assessment, honestly, of what they're actually seeing out there because it's not their hometown team. And it is now they're national guys, so it's a little bit different. But I enjoy listening to other teams' broadcasts.
We got here Jake. JK said, "Dear Grumpy, happy belated 21st birthday from 2 Minutes of Pessimisticking."
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, 21 and 21. And yes. Thank you so much. Yes.
Only got to multiply that by 3 or 4 or 5, right, Grumpy?
No, it's not that many.
You're not. Oh, I could have swore you were 105 years old.
I have that, I had that sage advice, but no, that's not my actual chronological age.
Eli said Bailey and Big Z are a combined -7 through the first few games. I'll be right back, Grumpy. I'm gonna let you take.
Oh my God. Okay, we'll see. What's Bailey's? What's Bailey's plus minus? What's Bailey's plus minus? Do you know offhand?
Jesus, Grumpy. I can.
Well, I don't have it pulled up. Here's the thing: you're going to throw this landmine my map because you can't hold your water once again. You got to at least tell me what he is.
Hey, Grumpy. He's a -4.
Okay, great. Okay, so you have Josh Bailey, who's a -4 and leads the team in scoring. I guess that means he's not doing his job, right? And what's the one thing about Josh Bailey? Well, he's able to make the smart play, do the right thing. He's not going to hurt you when he's out there. Well, it looks like that's not been the case this year. And Zdeno Chara, okay, he is what he is. He is what he is. I'm not going to rip on him because I had zero expectations. I told everyone here, don't have any expectations for him because he can't play anymore. Like I said, I'm not going to be the last guy to take the last piece of dirt and throw it over. I'm not going to make sure it's like, Michael Myers in Friday the 13th in Halloween movies where they should always cut his head off. They never cut the guy's head off. Why not? You know that he has a reputation for coming back from the grave. Why aren't you cutting his head off? You stand there, you let him get up, you let him kill everybody again. No, cut the head off. That's what you should do. Don't light him on fire. Cut his head off and smash it in with axes or pickaxes or whatever you got to do. But they don't do it, right? So, hey, I'm not going to do that with Big Z, even though he's finished dead and buried also. Josh Bailey, on the other hand, He's still got a few years left here, and you watch. They're going to give him a contract extension. You heard it here first from the grumpy old man. They love him regardless. I'd move him at all costs. I'd just get rid of him. We had the option in the offseason. We tried not to go that route. Like I said, if you can get rid of Andrew Ladd, you can get rid of Josh Bailey. But they chose not to. I don't know what else to say about that. But, Zdeno Chara is what he is at this stage of his career, and there's nothing else we can do that. Now, I'm going to see if there are other comments in here. I said, CT doesn't know. I figured out how to look at the comments. And this way I can. Let's see. There's one. I don't know how to post them up here. That's a TJ thing. Okay. Now here, okay, this is from Jer Ben. He says, has anyone else gotten completely sick and disgusted with the amount of ads on the ice? It's so annoying. And I'm like, well, that's why they have to make their money, right? So they do that. And that brings us to, do they want to put logos and advertisement on jerseys? No. If they want to put them on guys' helmets, who cares? I don't. So that's the way I feel about that. Little commentary on that. You're going to have to have a little bit better question than like a three-word thing. I just did that one.
I know, Grumpy. I was listening to it. I heard you. It's not, honestly, when I have to go to the bathroom there, it sounds like Grumpy Old Man. It's like, the kid who's like, hey, you've got to go ahead and write a 5-page paper in order to pass this, double spaced, and you're doing everything. Like, you're putting extra periods, you're putting a whole bunch of like extra spaces. Instead of you making a double space, you're making a spacing in between there like 2.25. You're trying to do anything you can to extend it out that time period.
Maybe if you could control your pee-pee a little bit, we wouldn't have to have that issue. You don't see me having to get up and go to the bathroom every 10 minutes.
Oh,
I'm twice as old as you, and then some. And you don't see that being the case for me, do you?
Grumpy, you're better. What can I say, Grumpy? What can I say? I'm sorry. What can I say, Grumpy? And then Frankie J said, I just don't understand how we go from one game away from the cup and to what we see now. Hope we turn it around while it's still in the early portion of the season.
Yeah, that's the one you should have put up. That's the comment you should have put up, because that's one I can talk about without having to, okay, a couple of guys are minus whatever.
I had Josh Bailey in it, Grumpy, and usually those are like, hey, you usually say you need a service dog because you go into an apoplectic attack about how much you hate Josh Bailey. So I figured that would be easy. It'd be like shooting fish in a barrel for you.
I don't like to repeat myself, and I already talked about Josh Bailey earlier in the show. But here's the thing. Yes, we were one game away from making it to the Cup Finals, but our team isn't that great. I think we play great together as a unit, but we're not a super talented squad, and we're an older team. Those teams don't get better the older they get.
Also worth saying, NHL playoff style of hockey is completely different than the regular season. You see a lot more clutching and grabbing you can get away with. Like those penalties that were called against Zdeno Chara today. Again, I know they didn't result in goals against and in power play goals for the Nashville Predators. Neither of those would have been called in the playoffs. Neither one of them. Like, hey, you're pushing a little bit after the whistle. That wouldn't have been called in the playoffs. And taking them down, getting your stick or your hand up high as you're kind of like sleuth footing and bringing a guy down. Neither of those would have been calls in the NHL playoffs. Not a one of them. So, I think we benefit from the more physical style that you can have in the playoffs compared to the regular season.
And just one more comment on Frankie's comment here. It is still early, so no need to panic yet.
Mm-hmm.
If we lose to Montreal, I'm going to be losing my freaking mind. I cannot lose to Montreal.
I like this question. Jack W. said, who goes first, Zdeno Chara or Andy Green?
Chara.
I was about to say, I've got to figure it's Chara. He's just played so much worse than Andy Green. It's got to be Zdeno Chara.
Yep.
Oh, Chris P. said turkey neck grump. Oh, man.
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
And then, Jack W. said, FYI, I'm a fan of both if they both go first.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Oh, goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Oh, Jared Ben said, TJ, go back to pre-recording the ad.
True.
Was it that bad? I thought it was fun.
It wasn't that bad today. Believe me, you've been a lot worse before.
Oh.
It is smarter for you to pre-record it, though.
Oh, man.
But what does it take, like a half an hour for you to do that 1 minute spot?
Oh, Jesus. Mario said Grumpy's using God's echo. Yeah, Grumpy. And then Jeremy Ford said, Grumpy, I'll let you read a few comments, Grump. I'm going to kick back and play the grumpy old man for a few of these comments.
Aho with Pulak, Pellick with Mayfield, and Green with Dobson. Those are the optimal defensive pairings. Jeremy's usually pretty good at this, by the way.
You got another comment there by Jeremy Grumpy.
Loved Bo's power play goal today. Finally, there was movement and using the net by Barzal. I think we pick up 15 points for the next 13 games, and that's okay. That's how you read comments, all right?
Teach me more, Grumpy. How would you read this one?
Okay, I'll read it. Sorokin is vegetable up height. Isn't that how you would say it?
No, Sorokin is vulnerable. Sorokin is vulnerable up high.
Okay. I just think that's how you would read it.
Oh.
Well, here's the thing. Every goaltender today with the butterfly style is vulnerable up high. Why? Because they're always down on their knees, to take away the lower part of the net. So if you can shoot the puck and snipe top corners, you're going to be okay.
Jerben said, TJ hanging his head whenever Grumpy says anything that doesn't toe TJ's company line, shaking my head. Stop emotionally abusing the Grump.
Yeah, that's not right. You shouldn't do that.
Grumpy, am I emotionally abusing when I hear you say something? I go,
I think you're trying to bully me. I don't appreciate it.
I'm sorry for bullying you, Grumpy.
If I was one of the flakies, that would bother me. It doesn't bother me at all.
Jack W said, who's in the first to go, as in Green and Chara? FYI, fan of both, but we don't need two old defensemen. Yeah, so
it's going to be Chara. Chara will be the first one to go.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing, right? Barry puts him out there in the last minute of the game. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to what he does. Who's never out there in the last minute? Noah Dobson. Ever.
Hunter H said, can the Islanders pay Chara to retire early?
I think they'll keep paying him to make sure he gets all his bonuses. He's going to get his bonuses. I'm interested to see what the bonus structure is for he and Parise.
Jeremy F said, I thought the Islanders looked pretty good today too, grumpy old man. They just looked a little rusty with the finish, which happens when you have big breaks. It's good to see 2 power play goals and the penalty kill was solid.
Yeah, like I said, if this had been a game where you told me at the beginning the Islanders are going to have 2 power play goals and they're going to shut out a really potent penalty power play, that, I'm thinking we're winning that game. But we did look way better. This is the best game we played all year. So that's why I'm kind of happy. I know we only got 1 point, but, hey, it's a step in the right direction. It's baby steps for old guys.
Yeah, Dave F said, Chara's garbage. Nelson is trash. Move Varley to try to get a score, please. Is that how you want me reading comments, Grump?
No, because you're just so over the top. You don't even know how to read. First of all, somebody's probably somebody's saying into your ear. You're just parroting it. Chara's finished. True. Nelson is what he is. I mean, I don't think there's any great shakes. Again, he doesn't drive that line. It's always somebody else. His defense has not been what it has been in previous years. So he's probably on the downside now. Slight. And they're not moving Varlamov. Absolutely not. He believes in the 2 goalie system, and they're not going to hand the reins over to Sorokin just yet. We had a chance to get a score in the offseason. We chose not to do it. That's on Lou Lamoriello. Dave
F said, I'd rather get beat with Salo and Aho. At least they'll get experience when playing.
Yeah, see, that's my whole thing. Here's what you want to do, right? You want to play the young guys, ease them into the lineup. Why not Salo, but Aho? Salo needs to get big minutes to get ready for the NHL. He has way more upside than Aho. He will be a defenseman on this team starting next year. Okay? But Aho, ease him into the lineup, put him in situations like against Montreal. You should have against Arizona or Chicago, teams that are really bad. So even if he makes a mistake, your team can overcome it because the other team is just so terrible. But that's not how Trotz believes in it. And it's, to me, if you want to make your team better in the long haul, that's what you do. But that's not how he decides to do it.
Mario said, TJ, what's going to bring down fan morale is There's
more than 3 words on in the comments. So TJ, do you want me to read it?
The sentence was choppy. The sentence was choppy, Grump. What do you want me to say? Give me a sec, huh? My children have to go to school tomorrow. I have to go to work tomorrow morning. I have school tomorrow. It's snowing. And all the other excuses that loyal fan bases have used over the years to justify going to NVMC.
Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
So what he's saying is that it's just that the Islander fans don't show up. And here's the thing. If we lose a whole bunch of games, people won't go. People go to see winners. They do.
Yeah, talking about the fan show out there. Jeremy F. said, does Chara have too much pride to retire? Could a Hall of Famer retire like that if he's having poor play and say, maybe I just can't do it anymore, I need to retire? I really would like to see Salo and Aho get a chance. Old Duck too, when he gets up to speed.
Here's the thing. He's not going to retire. I think he enjoys playing. He still thinks he has something to offer, just not on a really good team. Or against really high-speed competition. I mean, that's where he struggles. I mean, if he was playing against a team like us, he'd be pretty good because we only have one guy who can create like that. But for the most part, he's not going to retire. I think you're going to have to drag him screaming. Unless somebody – it's his thing. He'll retire when no one will offer him a contract. Let me just put it to you that way.
Yeah. I think that's this next offseason. He's done. I don't think he's retiring midseason. I think he wants the money, the bonus, everything like that. Still wants to be a part of the team if he could be used in any capacity. But Joe said choosing to keep Leddy instead of Taves on top of losing Tavares for nothing are two gaffes that will continue to haunt us.
That's two general managers' mistakes. We've talked about this before. We'll do a brief recap. Yes, we could have offloaded Leddy instead of Taves, but Barry Trotz thought that Leddy was his best player in the playoffs with the exception of Varlamov by a country mile. And I'm like, what game are you watching? He's 29 years old. He's got one more year left on his contract. You have a young guy who's just getting better going into his prime in Taves, and they decided to move Taves instead of Leddy. They said they couldn't get as much for Leddy. Who cares? You want to piss in those draft picks away anyway. It doesn't matter. You keep the better player, the guy who plays in the NHL, as opposed to a guy who might make your team who knows how many years down the line.
In their situation, you definitely keep the better player because we're in win now mode, right? He's younger and he went on a cheaper contract than Nick Leddy was too. So you talk about, oh, we can't fit all these contracts in. We can't do this. We can't do that. Don't even get me started on that. It was a line of bullshit by the company. Hey, we couldn't do this. We couldn't do that. Not by.
And losing Tavares has nothing to do with Lou Lamoriello or Barry Trotz. That was a Garth Snow screw up from the get-go when he would not sign those. They offered him so many contract extensions. He wouldn't take it. When it got to that trade deadline or getting close, and Tavares said, well, I want to stay here. I don't want to be traded. Here's your contract. Sign it. And if he says no, you move him. Because when you're a team that's bad, you don't want to run the risk of losing a player of that caliber. And he is a high caliber player, regardless of how people think now. You don't want to lose somebody like that for nothing. And that's in essence what they did. They could have got a couple of first-round draft picks from Toronto. Who knows what else? They chose not to, and now you don't have anybody in your pipeline either. That was a Snow bungle for certain.
And then Mario said, when Trotz is done, he will get the same number of cups Capuano and Wright had before had with the Islanders. 0. Wait.
I'm going to say if Barry Trotz – okay, so what are they trying to do right now, right? They're in win-now mode. How many years realistically do you think the Islanders will be a consistent playoff team with a chance to win a cup? 1, maybe 2. And you're going to have to rebuild the whole thing. Is Lou Lamoriello going to want to do that? Is Barry Trotz going to be willing to do something like that, where you're going to have to incorporate younger players into your lineup and not just recycle old vets to just qualify for the playoffs and get bounced out in the first round? For me, Lou needs to have a conversation with Barry when that time comes, and it's coming soon, and say, Barry, are you willing to do this? Because Lou is willing to build a team based on what coaches want. He did it in Toronto, right? He went with the younger guys. Mm-hmm. He knows he's going to have to put younger guys in here. If Barry says, I don't want to go with young guys, I want to go with older guys, bye-bye, Barry. As good a coach you are, we're going a different direction.
Michael O'Donnell said, Grumpy, I completed my hockey room and man cave at the new house. Besides a great deal of Islanders memorabilia, I'm also displaying my classic Farrah Fawcett poster with Farrah in her red swimsuit. TJ, pull up that image for me and Grumpy. Well, there you go. Grumpy.
You know what? She looks better now. I'll tell you what. Digital has made that poster look even better than back in the day. I'm gonna tell you right now. I tell you what. It's still. She's a pretty girl. That was the poster of all time. Was that poster?
Fair enough.
That's the poster that started all, the red swimsuit. That was it.
The poster that started it all. William C. said 3-2-2 is a meh record. Offense is still an issue. Our whole offense is really busy. It's really been Barzal, Wahlstrom, and maybe Beauvillier. Chara needs to be benched. I'm tired of Trotz not making any chances.
Well, no, not making any changes. But here's the thing.
Sorry.
When no one has a shot to make the roster, or everybody who's penciled in as a starter is just going to be the starter, it means that everybody else in your organization doesn't feel like, okay, I have a chance to make the team. And I think emotionally, I think mentally, it kind of takes you down a notch, if you know what I mean. Well, gosh, I never have a chance to play here. Doesn't matter what I do. Devon Taves is a perfect example. His first year in, doesn't matter how well I play, I'm not going to get a legitimate shot here. So you look at guys like Bellows or Koivula, and I'm not saying these guys are the greatest things ever, because I think that our cupboard is pretty barren. But when these guys never get a legitimate shot, and I will put Josh Hosang in that boat, though, it kind of sucks the will out of them, the drive out of them. Even Andrew Ladd said it. He's like, yeah, I mean, I never had a shot there. And this is from a guy who's a veteran who's won Stanley Cups, and they never gave him a shot. And I'm not saying Andrew Ladd is great, because he certainly wasn't here. But when a veteran like that, a leader, says, you know, these guys really didn't care, I never had a shot there, that's a problem with the organization. So you can't make changes because nobody cares. What do you think Aho's thinking right now, TJ? Do you think he's going, yeah, I got a shot. If I play really well, they're going to sit Chara or Green on the bench? No, he knows they're not.
Zdeno Chara has looked so abominable and miserable. He gets walked around all the time out there on the ice. He's taking multiple minor penalties every freaking night, and I never get a chance. So what happens if I go out there and step on the ice and have a good game? What's going to happen is they're going to roll Chara right back out there. I see the writing on the wall. I see that they like this Robin Salo kid. They want to get him time in Bridgeport, and in 25 games, or however many it is, 25, 30 games, they're going to move Robin Salo up here. And what am I going to do? I'm probably going to be waived. That's what he sees, right? What happens in 25, 30 games if there's no injuries to the defensive side of the puck and they bring up Robin Salo? What does that mean for me? Well, they're probably not going to waive Zdeno Chara. They're probably not going to waive Andy Green. The person who's probably going to get waived is a guy who's been a healthy scratch, who hasn't been playing any games, despite maybe he is a little better. We have no freaking idea. But that's probably what's happening. So I'm like, hey, I'm 25, 30 games away from being waived.
And players only get better by playing. When you just sit them all, I don't care how long you practice. It's about playing in game situations. That's how you get better. When you don't give young players that opportunity, they wind up rotting on the vine. And they're like, well, this guy didn't pan out. Well, you never gave him a chance. I mean, that's the whole thing. And Hosang's the biggest example of that, honestly. That's why we use the right, well, this guy got Hosanged, because they just don't care about the young players. I mean, it is what it is.
Louis C. said, Bailey is complete and utter trash on the top line. I'm sick of seeing him turn the puck over, sick of soft defense as well. Being up 2-1 halfway through the third period and losing pisses me off. No sugarcoating it. This should have been 2 points. I stand with Grump. This team is no cup contender built like this.
No. Hey, that's a good reading of that comment.
There you go, Grumpy. Is this you want me to bring some energy when I'm reading these?
Hey, just know the comment. I mean, I know you read them ahead of time. I mean, it's not like you randomly pop them up. I know you're reading them ahead of time, and I don't read them ahead of time, and you just bungle treks them when you put them up there, right? Josh Bailey, his stick is like overcooked spaghetti. Just that's Josh Bailey's stick. Just weak. Floppy.
Is that what overcooked spaghetti?
Yeah, that's his game.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Michael T said, "What's up, fellas?" Zdeno Chara, he's looking frustrated, which I don't know if it's necessarily good or bad. Our power play looked pretty good, and our penalty killing shut down a hot power play game. So I guess it's a good takeaway. We're talking about Big C being frustrated.
Well, I mean, maybe he's realizing, geez, you know what? I can't keep up anymore. But he couldn't keep up last year either, or the last year in Boston either. I mean, but maybe I don't know what's being said, in the room by Barry to him after. I know he's not calling him out in front of the guys. That's not happening. But maybe he's saying, Z, you got to pick it up, and maybe that's why he's getting frustrated. Maybe he's getting frustrated with the calls that are going against him. Here's the thing: the 2 calls he had today were not because he couldn't skate or anything like that. They were penalties of aggression. That's what both those were.
So Grumpy, I had to jump ahead a few comments to pull this up. I'm not even going to. Ziggy, we'll just say here, as you could tell, Ziggy Grabowski said, TJ, if you can't pronounce my name, just call me Ziggy. So I will be calling you Ziggy for these next few comments. Ziggy is saying here, making the playoff this year looks tough. We need youth and speed. Bring in Aho, please. Also, Grumpy, do you like heavy metal? If so, which groups? Now, I think this is a Ziggy, Grumpy Old Man, that we did a podcast with Evan on the 2 guys in hockey talk, Grumpy. I think that's this Ziggy.
Okay.
He's asking, bring in Aho. We need some youth and speed. Grumpy, do you like heavy metal? If so, which groups?
I do like heavy metal, but now is Zeppelin a heavy metal group? I don't know. They played a lot of, acoustic stuff too. Zeppelin. I'm old school. Okay. Got to remember that, right? Van Halen, love old Van Halen, Aerosmith. I don't like thrash metal, but I do like, heavy metal. I do like that, but not thrash. I don't like any of the thrash. I wasn't a fan of like Motley Crue or anything like that, or White Snake, Power Pop, whatever the heck they called it. So yes, but I do like that. Now getting back to the hockey. Hello, Ziggy, by the way. We do need to get younger. There's nobody in the pipeline though, so we're kind of stuck where we are. I think it's too early to say we're not going to make the playoffs, but it concerns me that all the other teams in our division are playing so well right now because they're all just gaining points on us, and they're going to have to come back to the pack, and we're going to have to, go on a run to catch them.
Again, very early in the season, all those things are very plausible and probably will happen. Michael T said, why don't we just offer Sorokin for Tarasenko? I know Michael T's just messing around, trolling about over here because he doesn't think Tarasenko would really make that much of a difference.
I know he's a troll. But you know what? All I see is the Darius Kasparaitis picture, and it softens my opinion of him. But I know what he's about. That's fine. That's fine.
Michael T also said, is the shootout here to stay, or is it ending in the coming years? Because I hate it as well.
No way. It's going nowhere. The majority of fans love it.
Tony Cheese said, Josh Happenstance Bailey.
There you go.
I like that one. I like that.
True. It's like I said. It's not. I don't. You know what it is? That people think I hate Josh. I don't hate him. I just hate his style of play. I don't like guys who play like that, who are just soft and just no shows. Really, I mean, at least pretend like you're trying. There are games when he does that, right? And who's the first guy to be complimentary of him when he does that? Me. But they're so few and far between. I have to scroll. I have to flip back in my mind to think when the last one was.
Gracious, Grumpy.
And against Vegas, he wasn't great against Vegas. He had 2 points, but he was not great that day. The team played like garbage. We were lucky to get those 2 points.
Grumpy. Also, got a few additional comments. Michael T said they should just play overtime, and if nobody wins, it's a tie. I'd like to see 5 minutes on 4-on-4 overtime, and then 5 minutes on 3-on-3 in overtime. And if nobody wins, it's a tie.
They're not going to do that. They're happy with this system. They like the 3-on-3. It's exciting for fans. And I got to say, I love the 3-on-3. I really do. It's an action-packed 5 minutes. It seems like there's really no stoppages of play, which makes it good. And if you screw up on a line change or misplay a puck, it turns into a goal the other way. Love it.
Absolutely, Grumpy. Absolutely. Jeremy Ford said, once the Islanders get in some home games with last change, then I certainly hope to see the likes of Aho, Salo, and Bolduc relieving the old guys for some breaks.
Bolduc will not be up this year. No doubt in my mind. I mean, he was injured all during training camp, so he's not going to be up. Salo maybe after the new year, I think. Aho, I still don't believe it. I don't think they're really line matching at this point anyway. So I don't know. I just don't have a whole lot of hope in Barry putting the young guys in there.
Shane H said, So weird seeing power play goals for us.
It is kind of stunning. But, I mean, the first one was a nice 3-pass option for the goal. Really, really nice. No complaints there. Like I said, benefited from the guy dropping his stick in the corner, which makes it a 5-on-3. But, hey, what didn't you do with it? You didn't play with it or, stroke the stick or do whatever it is that Bailey likes to do. He got rid of it quick. And the second one was just a fantastic shot by Wahlstrom. Shows why he should be on the first power play unit.
Grumpy, I'll let you read this comment by D-Cut.
TJ never gives props to Island Ridge. Hold on, here we go. I tried. Is that how you'd read it, TJ? Okay. TJ never gives props to Isles Misery Rated R. Phil told him he's not allowed.
What actually happens is mid podcast, Phil will go ahead and he'll give me Morse code, kind of go ahead and giving me a message. That's what happens, really. That's what happens behind the scenes that you guys aren't privy to.
Phil's probably asleep right now.
And then Michael T said Dobson is choking on his opportunity to become a mainstay on this Islanders blue line.
He had a bad game today. Who are you going to replace him with? Like I said, once you're entrenched in the lineup with Barry Trotz, you're not leaving it. That's just the way it is. So he's set. If Barry Trotz stays here 10 years, he's playing for 10 years.
Helen Yeller said, what time was the Islanders game today? It was at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time.
True.
Mm-hmm. And then he also says, Calvin DeHaan was better than Chara is now.
I'm going to just say that Helen Yeller might be a lady's name. You said he said this.
Or
Helen
she said this.
Okay. I mean, Helen is usually a female name. So I'm going to go with that. It's a female. Calvin DeHaan. Man, he's not the guy I didn't like, honestly. Another one. He was the Josh Bailey, the defense. So I was not a big fan of him. He was always hurt. That said, he's probably better than Chara is now, yes.
Helen Yeller said, we need Phil Kessel.
No.
I was about to say, no, not interested.
No, not on this team.
D-Cat also said, TJ, give credit to the person who named the Three Amigos. If it was Phil's Facts or Tommy B, you'd have already said it 5 times.
That's right, because those are TJ's little pals, his little buddies. Here's the thing. I'm friends with the Isles Misery group. I don't know them personally, but you know what? They seem like cool guys. They're straight up. They're honest. You won't hear them lies that come out of that group's mouth. You won't hear that. And here's the thing. D-Cut, and I often give D-Cut, I think last podcast I gave D-Cut credit for that. He came up with the Three Amigos. He absolutely did.
That he did.
Yep.
Veritas Invictus says offense hasn't improved. Defense has regressed.
The defense was better today. The offense has not improved because it's the same guys. If you really expected improvement, I don't know. I can't help you there. I mean, we could have made the improvements. We chose not to. The only improvement you're really going to see is Wahlstrom getting a little bit better, but you're probably going to see natural regression from some of the older players. So it's going to kind of balance out. And I think we're seeing that.
D-Cut said, I wouldn't mind seeing Anatoly Golashev and Robin Salo replace Zach Parise and Zdeno Chara by Christmas. Besides bringing youth, he'd save us $1.5 million in cap space next year if both of the dinosaurs don't meet their games played bonuses.
I have a question for you, TJ. Anatoly Golashev is what, 5'7"?
He's a midget. He's 5'7", 5'8". He's not tall.
Okay. Do you think he has any chance at all of playing on this team? No freaking way.
Not unless multiple injuries happen. And again, he's played well for Bridgeport. Like at 4 games played, 3 goals, 0 assists. He scored for him, and he played well in the KHL. He put up points. But yeah, he's 5'7", maybe he's small. Maybe he's like 5'6". I'm not sure. He's very, very small for a hockey player. And I would say I'd probably lean towards no.
I've never heard of his rep being a tenacious defender, a guy who's an aggressive back checker. I've never heard that about him. He's a point producer. He's a goal scorer. Does that fit the Barry Trotz system? I don't think so. So I don't think he's got a shot. Maybe if there's a boatload of injuries, perhaps. But if there's enough injuries where Anatoly Golashev is a starter on this team, we're not making the playoffs.
I just think about the next guys in line, right? I think I go down the list. Okay, we still have Leo Komarov. We still have, Kiefer Bellows. We still have guys like Panik. We still have guys like Michael Del Cole. Even if Anatoly Golyshev is lighting the world on fire, we got guys like still Ross Johnston. I just think there's a lot of guys in front of them. I think they would play Leo Komarov over a guy like Anatoly Golyshev in a heartbeat.
And see, what does Komarov bring to the game? Nothing.
Feisty, tenacious style that likes to get under people's skin.
He brings nothing. He doesn't even bring a used lollipop wrapper anymore. He brings nothing to the table.
Matt I said EJ Radic was the NHL broadcaster. Yep, and Michael T also confirming that with Kevin Weeks.
EJ Radic is usually pretty good, and he's knowledgeable about the Islanders. So I'm surprised that someone said that he was poor earlier today. Because I like EJ. I like listening to him.
Buck Rogers said Wally will score 15 power play goals this season.
I don't think he's scoring 15 power play goals. That's an awful lot of power play goals. I'd go 10 maybe.
I think he could definitely be in the contention to lead the team in power play goals also. But again, it's a long season.
Yeah. If you're looking now, right, he scored like 35 goals this year, something like that, or 40 goals. He's not going to score 40 goals this year.
I think 20, maybe 25 is kind of.
I think that's a very realistic option for him.
Playing on the third line. I mean, the majority of his goals and opportunities, I think, are going to come on special teams. And maybe you're looking at if he's got 10 power play goals, maybe 10 or 15 on regular line play.
Yeah.
Michael T said, "Control your pee-pee." Perfect for a t-shirt.
Control your pee-pee. Pee-pee on the teepee.
Dave C said, "Hey, getting on late, but happy birthday, Grump."
Thank you, Dave. You know what, Dave? I want to thank you for sending all the proper materials to get me on the proper speaking so I can. But TJ has not worked with me on getting that thing set up correctly because, we do have to work in tandem on that. And I've asked him, don't think it's me, Dave, because I believe in you.
Oh, thank you so very much, Grumpy, for throwing me under the bus.
You are so welcome, TJ.
Jeremy Ford said, Holmstrom with the primary assist tonight, Grumpy.
That's what I heard. I heard that he took the puck behind the net and he flipped it up to a guy 5 foot away, and the other guy did loop-de-loops in circles and an individual up for the goal. I have no idea. Good for him.
You'll also be happy to hear that Bridgeport is still losing to the Providence Bruins, so it doesn't. Okay. Michael T said, in hindsight, the Chara signing now seems like it may have been a publicity stunt.
It was not a publicity stunt. There was nobody there. But we knew that, all right? I mean, we were saying that. All the left-handed defensemen are gone. They're all gone. But here's the thing. What did it tell you? They thought that Chara was a better option than Gustafsson was, who wound up leaving and going with Chicago.
Think about, again, like Chicago's, they're shit in the bed. They're not very good. But, I mean, I thought Gustafsson looked better than Big Z in training camp, too. I didn't think Gustafsson looked poor. Right, we talked about guys who looked like they were sore thumbs out there on the ice. Big Z looks like that. I'm not sure if Gustafsson looked like a sore thumb out there on the ice, like he was, one of those glaring weaknesses.
But here's the thing, right? What's the thing that Gustafsson does not do and didn't when we played against Chicago? He didn't do it either. Doesn't play defense. That's what hurt him. Yes, he's good offensively, but he doesn't play any defense.
Hodaz said. I'm not gonna lie. If the shirt gets us a point, make it a tradition. Grumpy, do you see what's on that picture? It's a cropped out image with Hodaz on his face on my body. Oh goodness! The only reason I could tell, I'm like, what the hell is going on? It looks like that image was busy looking. I see a microphone and I see chest hair. I'm like, hold on a second.
That's why I love the people who comment on this show right there. Because you know what? Here's the thing. You would think something like could hurt someone's feelings. Here's the thing. We don't care. We're not little snowflakes that'll have a little feelings hurt if somebody says something about us or, is indirectly against us. We don't lose our marbles. We just roll with it. You know what? I find it enjoyable that people have different points of view. What's wrong with that? I don't think there's anything. I believe in freedom of speech. I love that he did that to you. I took a pretty brutal shot today with the turkey gullet. Come on, let's be honest.
I know. I like
that was worse than that. That was pretty bad. I was like, oh, that's a good shot.
D-Cut said, TJ skipping my comments as usual, caters to his little posse and loses comments from the Isles of Misery rated R members.
That seems to be a very common refrain.
Oh, Alexander said, Josh, soft serve, Carvel, ice cream, Bailey.
He's not even the soft serve that gets like in the cup. It's like the stuff that they have left over. If they leave it on too long, they pull the thing out. It just kind of flops on the floor and stuff like that. Just bleh. That's Josh Bailey.
Bleh. That's how it goes?
Bleh. Bleh. Like the spaghetti shot. Bleh.
Alexander said, Grump, what's your top 5 Harrison Ford movies?
Okay. Let's see. I don't know if he has to be a big star, but and I do not remember this. See, I hate when I get called on spot like this because I know there's something going to leave out. One I just watched recently was Presumed Innocent, which is a great courtroom drama. Love that film. Indiana Jones or Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first one, fantastic. Star Wars, of course. I'm just going to throw the whole franchise in there. Apocalypse Now, he played a lieutenant in that, in the early scenes. I just love that film. And I'll have to think of a fifth one. Gosh, I'm trying to think of the fifth Harrison Ford movies, though. I'm just going to give you 4. I'll just give you my Mount Rushmore of Harrison Ford films. There you go. And if I had to go with one Star Wars film, it would probably be Empire Strikes Back. Or maybe just the original Star Wars. I'll throw them both in. There's your 5. There
you go. Alexander said, I'll tell you, I'm a huge fan of DeHaan, but he couldn't stand Mark Strait. Well, Mark Strait got an awful lot of positive press because the Islanders were really, really bad back then. And he was somebody who played a lot of minutes and he was, a serviceable player. But he was not great, but he was a great Islander at that point in time because we were just so bad. Absolutely grumpy old man. And then Michael T saying, how tall was Theo Fleury? Really short, 5'6". Well, I'll tell you one thing. Theo Fleury, again, talent-wise, much more talented. He was something. Than Anatoly Golishev. I mean, the guy averaged over a point a game throughout his career, I think. He was just drive. The kid was something else for Calgary. He was really, really good. Absolutely. Eve, our friend Eve L said Blade Runner. Thank you. Yes, Blade Runner was excellent too. Alexander also said, I wouldn't say size is a reason to keep him from the NHL. I mean, look at some of the guys, DeBrincat, Johnny Gaudreau. What do I see when I see all those guys? Alex DeBrincat, Johnny Gaudreau, all excellent skaters, unbelievable stick handling ability, and they can all put the freaking puck in the net. That being said, I don't think Golishev is a fantastic skater. I think he's an average skater. But like when you look at those smaller guys, they have to be one. I mean, look at even Nathan Gerbe. Right? I think about a small guy who that's what I put him on par. I mean, Nathan Gerbe, I forget he had some good seasons, Gerbe there with the Sabres and bounced around a few places. I mean, like Golishev, I think could, ideally if he works out, I mean, like, okay, you're looking at a guy like Nathan Gerbe in best case scenario. Okay. This is what I mean. I didn't say that he couldn't potentially play in the NHL. I just said he wouldn't play for the Islanders because that's not how our team is built or what we're supposed to be doing. I mean, we're a team that's predicated on guys being able to come back and play defense. Do you think DeBrincat would play for the Islanders? He don't play enough defense. I think Barry would get really, really frustrated with him. And that's what I think he does with a lot of the smaller guys. You have to be able to come back and play both ends of the ice. And it's tough for smaller guys who are just offensively oriented. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Alexander was the one saying he thought Radek and Weeks were poor today. D-Cut said, TJ looks better with a beard, covers up his face. Oh! I was about to say, I got to get my beard growing longer than if that's the case. And D-Cut also said, you're right, Grumpy. TJ's a good sport. He knows it's all fun and games. In the end, we are all passionate Islanders fans and fans of the show. Absolutely. Right. It's just a show, right, D-Cut? It's just a show. Yeah, some people take things personal. It's just a show. Dave C said, get another button on that shirt, TJ. Yeah, or a pin or something. Something. Is that better if I just go? Even if you had to, yeah, that's it. Even if you have the whole, just do something. It's like you're trying to open up. Hey, look at me, I'm TJ. Yeah. Oh, man. Eve also said, happy belated birthday, Grumpy. Thank you very much. Tim P said, Simon Holmstrom with a beautiful assist tonight. The kid's got talent. He's better than Bailey.
We'll see.
Oh,
I think he is Josh Bailey 2.0.
he is. He is. Same exact
So,
mentality.
like I said, you know what I worry about talent in the pipeline? I got my next player to hate in the pipeline. He's ready. Get ready to load up.
Does that put a smile on your face knowing that he'll be the next player you hate?
It just makes the show easy to do.
Oh.
That's all. You know how boring the show would be if I didn't have somebody to dump on? I was thinking back, who would I have hated from those Islander teams in the 80s? I didn't hate anybody on those teams. That's what happens when you win all the time, though, too. You know, it's like if you're a Tampa fan right now and you're doing a podcast where, you know, you tend to look at the, you know, the darker side of how things are going. You know, you're not a little Johnny Sunshine site. You know, it's got to be tough if you're a Tampa fan right now if you win 2 straight Stanley Cups, or at least the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm. They've been fantastic, absolutely. D-Cut said, fun show, guys. Thanks there, D-Cut. And Helen Yeller says, we need Yashin back.
He's probably skates just as good as Chara does now.
Oh, Michael T said, happy 97th birthday, Grump.
Thank you very much.
And then Zachary M said, Leafs are up 1-0.
You know, they're going to start winning. I mean, you know, here's the thing. The Islanders, okay, we're struggling with 3-2-2, right? So I just wish that we play better against the better teams, give us more of a barometer. We're playing some weaky squads early. So, but, you know, the Leafs are going to win. Colorado's going to put up points. Tampa Bay looks like they've kind of rounded the bend a little bit. Boston's going to turn it on a little bit. And some of the other teams are going to step back. You know, your Buffaloes, your Detroits. It's a long way to go. Long way to go.
Alexander also said, how about Patriot games and then clear and present danger?
No, they weren't my favorites. I thought the best of that series, that Tom Clancy series of novels, was The Hunt for Red October, which was the first one, which Alec Baldwin was in. You know, the guy who just killed somebody on his set, Alec Baldwin. I thought that one with Sean Connery and Sam Neill, I thought that was the best of those. The other, I mean, not that one wasn't way out there, but the other ones were really out there. So,
Grumpy, well, we're here towards the end of the podcast today. Grumpy, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Before we go, what would you like to say to the listeners of this podcast? Obviously, all the listeners here need to make sure they check out tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is going to be Sunday. They need to check out TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. It's a podcast where we talk sports, shoot the shit, just have a good time, interacting there with the fans. It's more of just like a conversation. It's not so much Islanders geared. It's just talking sports and having a good time. That link is in the description below. Again, every single Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every single Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Grumpy,
I want to give kudos to Alexander, who kind of really helps out with that show, honestly, with our fan fight segment, which is great. He comes up with great fan fights, and I want to give him some props for that because, you know, I do nothing when it comes to that. Let's be honest. That means I would have to know how to do anything like that, which I do not. Admittedly incompetent when it comes to stuff like that. So thank you, Alexander. But I do like to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, and even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
And thank everybody who tuned in and listened here to the live stream of the podcast. Again, as we've said before, and we'll say again, this is something that Grumpy Old Man and I love to do. We enjoy to do it. There's nothing else stop us from doing it. No matter what type of pressure, complaints, doesn't matter. We're always going to love doing what we do. And that also being said, you guys, the listeners, you guys are what makes this podcast what it is. It makes this community, I think really interactive. It makes this community, Grumpy Old Man, I'd say, something special. And again, we always thank you guys for being here for us as we do this podcast and this live stream.
To me, this podcast is by fans for fans. And that's why you always have a voice. You agree with us, great. You disagree, great. We don't care. Everyone gets heard here. And, you know, that's just the way I think about it.
Doesn't matter what comments are said. Doesn't matter if you think we're stupid, have turkey gullets, think we're bald. You should have beards covering our whole face. Doesn't matter. We let the people's voice be heard. We don't censor anything. That being said, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be live back again with you Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you then. Thank you so much, Grumpy Old Man. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.